Okay, we ready? What fucking episode? Is it episode 18?
No. What is it?
God. We are an
16.
absolute embarrassment. We don't even know what we're doing.
16, 1 6. And
Oh,
I've
Eventually,
put
we'll just say this is the next episode of, rather than
this is
that.
welcome to. Yeah, there'll be no.
look, can you both stop? We've got a lot to get through. I'm going to
Sorry.
start with 5. By 5, I mean now. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, to episode 16, I think we've decided, of Heresy Hammer. We hope Heresy is treating you well. I'll say this now. We've got a bumper show ahead of us today. We've all got very, very, very carried away with this. So we're going to absolutely plow on through a rapid old lick just to make sure that we get everything covered, but it also doesn't take up the rest of our lives. Welcome. I will be your host for today, John. I am at D6 Miniatures on Instagram, and I am joined by my two veritable co-hosts. We have Robert at Medas Miniatures. Say hello, Rob.
Hello, Rob.
Hey, wouldn't.
An oldie but a goodie in it. And Lee at Death from the Shadows. Say hello, Lee.
Hello, Lee.
Hello, Rob. That made life much better. Before we get things started, we want to quickly say that this month we're going to be drawing our first Patreon competition. So those of you who have been subscribed from the very beginning, and thank you to you all, will be entered into the draw to win our first Legion console. So for everyone subscribed at the Champion and Praetor tiers, our middle and top tiers, you can win a console of your choice, painted in the Legion of your choice, painted by one of us three, which will be determined at random. So we'll be drawing that at the end of the month. There'll be a Patreon-only video going out. And we'll crack on with that as soon as we possibly can. So without further ado, I will also say that to make sure that you are in for the next round of potential winnings, please either continue subscribing to the Patreon if you are ready, or you can join the Patreon by heading over to patreon.com, searching for Heresy Hammer, or patreon.com/Heresy Hammer. You'll need to subscribe at the middle £5 or £8 Praetor tiers in order to be eligible. But there's loads of other stuff going as well. There is twice the number of shows. We do 2 extra shows every month. You can look at the whole back catalogue of all the shows. Obviously, if you subscribe for 6 consecutive months, you get some free cool stuff as well, which we'll be detailing over the course of the next few weeks. And we've also just launched a very special little extra today where we've got our own lodge over on Facebook. So yeah, loads of extra goodies. Additional value, no extra charge, but more stuff. So if you search for Heresy Hammer Lodge on Facebook, or we'll send an email out later on, you'll be able to join in that and share your woes and highs of heresy. Cool. Gents, how's heresy been treating you? Anything interesting going on?
I have been doing a bit of Death Guard, but I've actually been on holiday since we last met. So I've been doing minimal Horus Heresy, apart from doing my taxes while I was away for the Medas Miniatures company. So that's about the extent of any kind of hobbying that I've been doing.
Lee, I guess you've done fuck all, correct?
I've been working or looking after a 3-year-old. So that is pretty much the extent of all my hobby, to be honest. I have made a start on my first scout squad. So
excellent.
I've got 5 dudes nearly built.
5 dudes nearly built, right?
Yeah, was the half hour I had free to myself today, really.
Well done.
And how about yourself, John? What have you been up to?
I've been painting Sons of Horus, and I have been painting some, what are they called? Charon Pattern Acquisitors.
Right.
I know, interesting.
For a client, or
for a client, yeah. But actually, I found them really, really cleaning them, like cutting the gates off and cleaning them up was an absolute arduous task.
Yes.
But I've really enjoyed painting. So
I found that there are, when you put them together though as well, there's ginormous gaps between so they don't slot together particularly well. I don't think.
I've got one that's beautiful and one that is a shell. Yeah. So we'll have to spend a bit of time gap filling that. Yeah. Right. We've got a bumper sponsors section to get through this week. So we're going to start the admin phase. We're going to start by saying a great big thank you to Cryptic Cabin, who've been there from the very start. Cryptic Cabin stocked a huge range of miniatures, not just for Horus Heresy, but for all game systems, alongside a range of hobby supplies and accessories too. If you follow our link in the description of this video or on any of our social channels, you can support the show by ordering from them with great discounts and speedy delivery, and also give us a sweet little kickback. I will say we have invested a lot of time getting this episode together. I think we've all got, as we said at the beginning, very carried away. So we'll delve into that later. Do you know what? Actually, I'll quickly say now, because I'll whet the appetite slightly. We're going to be talking about allied detachments today, and why they are so fun and so brilliant. And we've all come up with 6 legions each worth of allied detachments. So stay tuned. No, go back. I haven't talked about Rob yet. Rob's Rob. He paints to an unbelievable standard in an unbelievable time frame for a phenomenally reasonable price. So if you want a Heresy army and you've got some patience, why don't you give Rob a shout? I only say patience because he is booked up until when, Rob?
I think it's start of autumn now. Last time we spoke, it was April. Now
the start of autumn. So the leaves on the trees will have been and gone again by the time you can have an army painted. However, it will be worth every single second of the wait.
Exactly.
So Lee's already given this away, but we'd like to welcome our first new sponsor, which is Bits Monster. So Bits Monster are a bits and pieces site. They have a huge range of bits and kits from all over the Warhammer universe. They offer free UK shipping over £25, and if you use the code HeresyHammer at checkout, you can get 10% off all Horus Heresy related items.
That's not bad. Yeah. That's not bad at all. Actually, it's pretty good.
There's some bargains on there, to be fair. I had a quick look. I'm waiting till the end of the month when I get paid to buy more shit that I don't need.
Oh, man, 100%. But yeah, 5 of something else, it will take you 2 years.
I spoke briefly with them, and they did say that their Heresy line at the minute isn't as extensive as they'd like it to be. So they're going to be adding more stuff. But yeah, they got all sorts of shit on there at the minute. You know, you want a cheap Spartan or a cheap plastic Contemptor, get yourself over there and pick up some deals, to be fair.
Get it even cheaper. Free shipping over 25 quid and 10% off. You cannot go wrong. Please do go give them a follow as well. So they're at bits.monster on Instagram and bits.monster on Facebook too. I know that they're really keen to post up kind of updates of what they've got coming and going all the time. So head over there now. Do it. Our second rogue trader is Gator 3D. We talked about that stuff recently, just like loads of really, really cool stuff. Like 3D printing is the way forward to make truly customized one-off armies these days. There's no excuse for you having an army that looks the same as everybody else's. So,
I mean, essentially, once you've been to Bits Monster and Cryptic Cabin and brought all your good shit, then you head over to Gator and get something to make your army unique.
Get all the accoutrements, right?
It's all in one shop stop. Fucking.
Well, technically, that's 3 stops actually.
It sounded better, didn't it?
You can get it all done in one poo break. So. Yeah, do go over that. So we want to say a huge thanks to both Gate 3D and Bits Monster for coming on board. If you would like to be featured in the Heresy Hammer titles and in the admin phase, then head over to Patreon. We've got a special tier for companies that want to advertise with us. It's called Rogue Trader. You get all of the other cool stuff, plus we shout you out as well for like a couple of quid extra. It is a no-brainer, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Wicked. Rightio. So we've got now the most important section of the day. Lee, take it away. We haven't got a fucking rules correction this week because we've got everything right. Either that or you lot are all too slack. So
I have a feeling that the next show we do, this may be extensive.
Perhaps we'll do a Patreon-only rules correction section.
Fill an hour.
And we've all got a spare weekend, right?
Because, I've written some lists that I'm a bit like, I know fuck all about this Legion. I'm fairly certain I've made some mistakes, but I'm sure our good viewers will be picking us up for the next one.
Yeah,
but until then...
Cool. So Lee has been selecting his hashtag Heresy Hammer faves this time round. So hashtag Heresy Hammer is a hashtag we use on Instagram. If you want to get your stuff featured and critiqued and loved on by us, then just post your stuff on Instagram. Use the hashtag Heresy Hammer. We've got thousands and thousands and thousands to get through. So I promise you we will get to as many as possible. But this time it's Lee. So Lee, take us away. Why don't you talk about our very good friend Adam at Full Circle Hobbies 2.0 Thousand Suns. Wax lyrical, please, mate.
Oh God, they're so good, aren't they?
Yes, correct.
So I have to say, like with this picture here, I was almost tempted to put like a close up because with the Thalax, they kind of just look like a bluey black here, but if you see like a close-up version of him, he's done like edge highlighting scratches all over him. It's fucking insane. Like they look so good. But I think one of the things, and it sounds daft, one of the things I love the most about these is the silver face plates. Like I know it's real bitch basic, but you always see black or a color, and I love the silver. I think it works really well with the black and the red.
It was super menacing, right?
Yeah, just so cool. I mean, they're cool models, but so well painted. Yeah, just fucking hot, aren't they? I mean, yeah, sexy models.
Robert, anything to add?
I mean, he's the man, isn't he? He's the worldwide. It might be one of the most one of the best heresy armies just around. His conversion work is nuts. And he doesn't produce a lot of models, but when he does, oh boy, are they!
Oh man, the quality is unreal. I don't think that's too big a shout. I think if we're talking about the conversation of world best heresy armies, I think this has got to be in the conversation.
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely.
Christ, what a guy. Gorecrow, one of our patrons, lovely Gorecrow. He's got a gentleman here who I believe is a librarian. He looks like a librarian.
Yeah. Which I love. I love. You don't see many Iron Hand librarians, do you? But
you're doing Will Henry's army.
Oh yeah, but fuck that guy. Yeah, I love this. I don't know. It's just to me, this is old school heresy. It's just a classic, fairly basic but looks brutal as fuck model, and I do love the clash of the orange with the black armor.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I think this is really cool. I think the skin tone's really great as well. I think nothing really detracts you like from the kind of like it kind of feels really sort of together as a piece. I think it's really good. I saw some pictures of his entire army for an event the other day, and I was like, oh man, this is a sleeper army.
Yeah, really nice. Love it.
Cool. Next.
Oh, here we go.
Right. Lee, you've what? Hello.
I was just going to say, like, I threw this in because we don't really show enough terrain, and this Force of Leia has been working on a ZM table.
I don't think I follow this guy. I'm going to check my Instagram. You two talk. I'm going to grab my telephone.
And I just fucking love it, to be honest. I love the blood splatter. He did another one with more blood splatter on, and it's not too much, it's not too little. It just, and the little chaos symbol. And I was just like, this is fucking awesome. Like a table of this would look insane.
Got a Goldilocks level of blood splatter. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
actually, and if you are creating terrain, you don't see a lot of that necessarily on Instagram. So definitely, if you're creating a heresy board, like please do, because I've got some terrain to paint for some Heresy Hammer events. So inspiration is always most welcome.
I've always thought like terrain is the third piece of the puzzle. You can have two sexy armies, and if you're playing on books and fucking boxes, then it just detracts from doesn't it?
Most definitely. Yeah.
It's kind of
this guy's only got 81 Instagram followers. Go and follow him immediately. He deserves at least 1.5 times that. So stop whatever you're doing and go and do that. And then continue. Don't go back to what you're doing, because you need to go and marvel at Barry's Sanguinius.
So I will
start. You start, Rob, because I can't.
So I did. Me and Paul did a private.
Who?
Paul, that guy, right?
Literally never heard of him.
That guy. We did a private tuition course with Baz. He came to my house for a couple of nights, and on a Saturday and Sunday in December, and we learned the tricks of green stuffing. And it was
So you can do this now, yeah?
I basically can do this, yeah. And it was one of the best things I've ever done hobby wise. If you are looking to improve your green stuff work, get in contact with Baz, because he will. We organised the flights and organised the accommodation. He stayed here and stuff like that. It was relatively simple, but it was well worth the investment. And this is just something to aspire to, isn't it? I mean, this is no way after a weekend course could I create something like this, but certainly it gives me the confidence, or it's gave me the confidence to kind of like tinker around a few bits, and that's the foundation level, and you build up, and one day maybe when you're a grown up you might be able to create something that looks like this.
That's probably me. I never plan on growing up, so I'll never be able to do this.
So this belongs to Andy Wardle now, doesn't it? And Andy hasn't painted.
No, it doesn't.
I was about to say, have we seen a painted version of this?
No, I'm not convinced he's painted it, and if he has painted it, it might be for Golden Demon.
I think so.
Right. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
I didn't
imagine that. Imagine being that talented a sculptor and then giving it to that talented a painter. Jesus, this model has got something big to live up to, right?
Yeah, really. And it's from the Lost of the Damned artwork. That's from the Siege of Terror books. That's what it's from.
Yeah, I was going to say this is some cover artwork shit here.
Yeah.
And this is like fucking awesome. Love it.
Cool. What is next? Oh, I'm going to talk about Space Marine Sashes stuff, because I think I've been seeing this popping up in the Imperial Fist group over on Facebook over the course of the last kind of few months, and I think this is absolutely awesome. Now, it reminds me of Richard Gray's color scheme. I don't know if Sash is following like Richard's Patreon, but the yellow is.
I feel like I've seen a comment from Richard on somewhere to him about this. So most likely.
I mean, if you're going to emulate someone, you might as well emulate him, right?
Yeah, he's used his tutorials here, Richard Gray's tutorials. Like, and there's a piece of paper between them. You can't tell the difference between this guy and Richard.
Exactly right.
It's nuts. Yeah.
And he's also from Melbourne, so he's in and amongst.
What they've got? What are they like? So, is it water over there?
Like in the water.
So am I right in thinking? So there's Kieran, Adam, this guy, Dom Fabry is from Melbourne. I think he's
Melbourne. Yeah, Melbourne lad. Yeah.
Imagine playing a game out there. You must feel like such an inferior human every time you pull out a model on the table. Oh, I'm really sorry, I'm letting you down.
And Adam often says that there are loads of guys out in Melbourne who have amazing armies, but just don't have a social media presence. Yeah. So, like, all these untapped.
It's almost like living in paradise means that you don't really need the constant ego, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Unlike us living in.
I guess when you live in a country where everything's trying to kill you, all you can do is lock yourself away and
That's a good point.
paint like an expert.
Right. Who wants to talk about Sam's whatever this guy is, Gygor Fell-handed?
This is
blue space war.
You do it, Lee. Go for it.
So I was going to say, I put this up there because I fucking love this paint job.
It's great.
And I hate this model. Like, normally I can't stand this model, but I saw this and I was still like, I fucking love it. Like, even though I hate the model, I still love it. Like, he's done such an amazing job. Like, the face is insane. Like, it's fucking brilliant. But
like, I give Samit a lot of shit for painting his Space Wolves blue and them all wearing jorts and the model line being universally awful. But again, if we're talking about conversations of world's best, I don't think there's a better Space Wolf army in the world right now. And if there is, I'd like you to send me whomever does it, because I think his army is truly special.
I mean, it takes a lot of skill to make
grey,
like
grey.
A model you don't like in a fairly bland colour, and then look at it and be like, "This is amazing. I love this." And every other time, I mean, I had this model. I collected Space Wolves for a short period of time. And I was like, I'm not using this model. I fucking hate it. If I'd seen this, I'd have probably thought twice about it.
You immediately tossed it into the closest skip, right?
Before throwing it in the bin. But
so go and give
Yeah.
go and give Smeet some love. He's a good boy.
So something to say about this as well, the Lee Jones and Astartes. So it's a
Mm.
group of lads, isn't it? This
Three.
three
It's a
lads. There's
triumvirate.
Mike, Anuj, and Samit, I think. And
Yeah.
because of that, there's loads of variation that comes up on this account. And they're always bigging people up in the heresy community as well in their story. So definitely worth a follow, because they don't post like every day, but what they do post is it's awesome.
Top tier.
Yeah, I don't think Anuj has painted the model in about 4 years, but eventually when he does, but he has run some really, really great events. So I would definitely get yourself down to an Anuj event. The guy wrote the rules. I mean, fucking hell, it's got to be good, right?
Yeah. Great.
That wasn't a joke. Cool. I don't really like custodes, so I'm going to talk about this one from Versus Miniatures. I think this is great.
Yeah.
I think that black with the candy red is super menacing. I think it's just lovely. I'd have a custodes army in this scheme. Rob, you've got custodes. Would you?
Mate,
what do you think about black and red?
Just basically like the candy red scheme and the black, it just looks fucking awesome. Like it's just an awesome looking tank, and I take my hat off to anybody who can make that Custodes tank balance on the tiny little bit of plastic, because they always like drop forward for me. So that is impressive. But yeah,
Put up my beer mat so that you can see him on the side.
And I think the best thing about this is just how seamless the transfers look as well. They just look like they're painted.
Yeah,
great job.
Wonderful work there. I think the blue as well. I like the kind of glow. I like the fact that it's not too over the top.
Yeah,
with glow. It's very easy to get really carried away and kind of wash it all out. But I think he's done a really good job of kind of tying that all in nicely, like that. And then we have another hobbyist who is taking a leaf out of my book right now and he's painting a Justaerin Dreadnought, which is what I've literally just been doing. So big fan of this. Again, like the kind of, I can't work out if it's a grey tone or like a silver tone. The picture is kind of, I'm not sure.
I think it's just quite exposed. I think that's the issue. So I think it probably is just quite black in the hand, but I think as a result, I think it's just the daylight lamp on it. I think it looks great. The only thing I would say, and the only thing I would add to this is maybe add one or
What's
two.
that heavy bolt we're doing there?
Yeah, so maybe add one or two skulls to the bases, and I think that would add a little bit of variation.
Oh yeah, I like that idea. That would look good.
Some tufts.
I
think this guy deserves a fucking salute for putting a heavy bolter on there. I think it's visually the top choice. I think.
Oh, it looks powerful. It's just
a fucking hero.
Powerful.
But does it have to be when it's on a fucking toughness?
No, I suppose not. To be fair, no. I am no. Well done for putting a heavy bolter on there. doff my cap to you and your heavy bolter.
Yeah, I love this model. I think it's done a cracking.
Oh, it's wicked. I've just been painting one and I absolutely love it. But obviously, I've gone with 2 chain fists.
Obviously, well, 2 chain fists.
That's not true, actually. 1 chain fist, 1 power fist,
and a power fist. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. But yeah, fucking awesome job. Here we go.
Speaking of awesome jobs, like I remember seeing this army in the flesh and being like, fucking hell, and this is really good. Like, where have you been hiding this? And ever since then, he's just been like adding to it. And he just rolls around the other day with a Mastodon. As if from nowhere, you're going to casually pop a Mastodon out of my bum. And here it is. 3 dreadnoughts coming out of it.
One of the best players with one of the best armies, right?
He is an unreal player.
Yeah.
Like low key, one of the best players you'll ever play the game. Plays the game in the exact right way.
Yeah.
Like can write just thinks out. Like imagine there's a box, right? People are thinking outside that box. Well, Ian's trapping them in another box and then going outside of that box. Yeah. every time I see him, I'm like, oh man, your arm, like just everything of like, I love this army. His
It's really
Dark
good,
Angels,
yeah.
love his Dark Angels.
It's got a really good balance of everything. I think
Yeah.
it's a really brave choice to take Mastodon. I'm really curious to see how he got on with this list at the event of the weekend. Really,
Yeah. It deserves to do brilliantly.
I just think the Mastodon's such an awesome centerpiece for this army. It looks fucking brilliant, just with the contemptors just bursting out of it.
That's so cool, isn't it? It's so
It is cool. If they ever did a plastic one, I'd probably buy one and put it on my shelf for 3 years. But
Yeah.
that much resin, like, wow. But yeah, it looks. Hopefully, one day in the not too.
I mean, they've done a plastic Cerberus, so I mean, literally anything is possible right now.
It's strange times we're living in, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. But fingers crossed, one day we'll have a plastic Mastodon because yeah, it looks fucking awesome. But yeah, he's done I was the same as you. Like I think someone else was using it at the event Rob run. Were they?
Yeah, it was James. James was using it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and that's the first time I saw it, and I was a bit like you, of like, holy shit, whose is that, and where have they been hiding it? Yeah.
So bloody Ian's
back.
ridiculous.
Like, oh, shit.
Cool. Speaking of strange times, we can move on to Heresy Thursday. Now, we also had a Heresy Tuesday, which we've shoehorned in at the end, but we're going to have a quick little gander at these first. So,
because I work shifts, I'm usually all over the place, and I generally don't know what day it is. And when I saw that pop up, I literally turned around to my wife and was like, "What? What day is it?" She was like, "It's Tuesday." I was like, "It is, isn't it?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You sure it's not Thursday?" She's like, "No, it's Tuesday." I was like, "Fuck, cheeky bastards."
I think the Bearhead again is chef's kiss.
I love all these. I think these are fucking awesome. I think they've done a top job with these.
I think these would look quite cool on some of the other legions, but I don't think these would look amiss as a Salamander or a Raven Guard. I think if you're a Salamanderer, the three of you out there, and you're all a bit dismayed with what you were given, I don't think these would look sad on your guys whatsoever.
Agree.
I think the shoulder pads are weirdly. I know. How can you get a Legion symbol on a shoulder pad wrong? I think they're very good. I think there's just too much going on.
No, I'm not.
That's not like a squiggle. I think they're a bit shit.
They look like bits of rope to me. Is what
I don't like it.
The
sergeant helm is terrific as well.
Yeah, really, really good. I think the Bearhead though is. I think the Bearhead's wicked. Right, really, really. I think you'll see that all over the place. If you want a sort of stoic head, I think if you head over to our friends at Bits Monster, they're going to sell through these Bearheads like fucking hotcakes.
Right. What else did we have? Oh, here he is.
This Chad.
Yeah.
So this is the last of the characters featuring the books that hasn't got a model. He's now got a model. So it's a bold new world we're living in, guys. What do we think of Exodus? A long-time stalwart, a friend of many an Alpha Legion player. Do we think his model has done his reputation justice? Lee, you kill people with firearms for a living. What do you reckon?
So I really like this model, but I have seen some comments of people mentioning it would have been good to have him in some sort of action pose rather than
there's one particularly vocal internet-based man
stroking his rifle like some sort of nonce.
Yeah.
And I see where people are coming from now. I think we had this conversation a while back of like the tactical rock, and at the time I was kind of like, I don't mind it, but I do see the argument now of like every single character has got their foot resting on a tactical rock. It starts to become a bit samey. But that said, I still think this model's fucking awesome. Like if I was an Alpha Legion player, I would be buying this.
Yeah, without even thinking about it.
Yeah, like it's fucking awesome. And I have to say the paint job is fucking top tier as well. Like that cloak, and also he's got a camouflage.
Super cool.
Like you can't see his cock. um, but yeah,
Rob,
I do agree with what people are saying. It would have been good to
I
see it.
think I'm gonna be honest with you and say I think it's potentially a slight missed opportunity. However, I am also going to caveat that by saying I think that it makes him stand out on the battlefield. Him actually standing up. I like the. I know people are saying
Yeah.
I'd like him in more of a kind of dynamic pose, but I think that might have reduced his visual impact on the tabletop. So I kind of see it from both sides, right? Rob, what do you reckon about this?
Yeah, so I think this is a terrific model, terrific paint job. There's lots of details hidden away on this
Mm.
that I think that you'd have to paint it to find every single one. What I would have loved even more, I think, is if this was on a 40 mil base and was that size as well, because then it would have been comparable to Alfarius, I think, and I think that would have been like a cool Omegon Alfarius kind of thing. But model aside, what I will say is that, and I think you made the important point that this is the last model that didn't have, last persona
Mm.
that didn't have a model until last week. And my prediction, and I'm going to put it out there now, if I
Here we
haven't
go.
already,
Spice alert, guys.
is that so Raven Guard, Salamanders, and Iron Hands don't have any
Nor do Iron Warriors.
characters, or Iron Warriors don't have any named characters in the Legios and Astartes book. So I think that the first campaign book, if we get a campaign book, will
Mhm.
include. I think it'll be an Isfan
Agreed.
Isfan 5.
Yep.
And I think that we will get their named characters in there. I think.
Do you think we're going to get Sharakin?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope they bulk it out because having almost a year of no name characters for those particular armies.
They've also got. Am I right thinking that they've also got no Praetor model either? Those four.
So the
Iron Hands have got an Iron Father,
right,
but doesn't
actually, yeah.
really count.
Yeah.
There's no Salamanders Praetors. There's no
Nope.
Iron Warriors Praetors, and there's no Raven Guard Praetors.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I think it could be a big year for those four, maybe. Yeah.
Could be again a big year for Will Henry. So what we needed.
All his armies, yeah.
Right. Okay. So moving swiftly on to another week. So this came a bit out of left field today, I think. Again, speaking of the last, this was the last of the Legiones Astartes exemplary battles we're going to see today, featuring the last two legions, the Blood Angels, and the Iron Hands will come to in a second. So in our group chats there, for obvious reasons, a lot of love for the Morlocks. However, I think these are absolutely shit fucking hot. So we'll quickly run through the stats, and then we'll give you the kind of the special rules and a bit of a rundown of what our thoughts are. So they are they're not veteran stats because they're weapon skill 5, BS4, strength 1, toughness 4, 2, initiative 4, 3 attacks.
Yeah.
Base. Spicy. 2+ save. There's only 3 of them in the unit to start off with, and they are 130 points. So they're equipped with a new piece of war gear, the Blade of Judgment. They've got a bolt pistol, a combat shield, all of the grenades, artificer armor, and they are Chosen Warriors, Shadows of Judgment, the Burning Eyes, a support squad, and Loyalist. And additional people are 40 points, and you can take Warhawk jump packs for 10 points. So these guys are your Sanguinary Guard, correct?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they basically are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hot damn! Look at that. Yeah, they are.
Hot damn. So, Rob, do you want to tell us what a Blade of Judgment does?
Yeah, so it is +2 strength, which I think is pretty good. AP3, it's two-handed, so you don't get a +1 for an additional attack, but it's rending 6 up, but also murder strike 6 up as well.
I think he's a fucking sick. Love this.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They are pretty good. Yeah.
Lee, what does Shadows of Judgment mean as a rule?
While involved in a challenge with a model from any Legiones Astartes faction, a model with this special rule gains a bonus of +1 to their initiative, can re-roll failed to wound rolls, and gains the rending 4+ motherfucker.
Mm.
That's That's not bad, is it?
That is a spicy meatball.
Initiative 5, renting 4 plus,
3 attacks,
3
4 on the
charge.
charge.
Fuck.
They're all chosen warriors, so they can all be involved in challenges.
Hmm.
These are super wicked. And basically, the Burning Eyes essentially means that you can take them as a retinue. So weirdly, they sit in the HQ slot as standard, but you can take them as a retinue for a either a Delegatus or a Primarch or a Praetor. So basically, he's got Master of the Legion.
Yeah.
I think Raldoron's got Master of the Legion as well, correct?
Yeah, I think that's where this comes into its own, which is that they can be taken as a retinue for Raldoron or taken as a retinue for Sanguinius. I think that's is perfect. They've got that right, I think.
I think the only thing that slightly lets them down as a retinue is they can't select a dedicated transport.
No.
So give them jump packs, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They've seen to it to provide you with an option. Right. And now the main event of Tuesday afternoon was the final release of the exemplary battles. The Iron 10th Morlock Terminator.
I was going to put a picture of like Will's face, just like in some sort of like orgasm pose. Like finally got his mark. And
so I think it's fair to say these were worth the wait.
Yeah, they're amazing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Spoiler alert: they are amazing. If you're an Iron Hands player, you're gonna have these.
Yeah.
So not only are they a really storied unit, and when we talk about things like Istvan 5, they are they're kind of they are the exemplary unit really of Istvan. Stats wise, they are standard good Terminator stats. So they are weapon skill 5, BS4, strength 4, toughness 4, 2 wounds, initiative 4, 2 attacks, leadership 8. And they have an augmenter who is basically a sergeant who's got 3 attacks and leadership 9. There are only 3 of them as standard, which is a nice touch because they are, as we know, very few. Right?
Yeah.
You can, however, take 2 more if you wanted to.
35 points each is a.
I mean, you're not going to not, right?
That is so ridiculous, considering the Death Guard are 70 points a piece.
So I'm going to compare. Yeah. So 5 Dominators is 225 base. So these are the same points. However, these guys have even more rules. They've got every rule. Imagine a rule in your head. They've got it right. So they come as standard in Cataphractic Terminator armor with a power weapon and a combi boa. So they don't unfortunately get a Thunderhammer for free like a Dominator does. But they have relentless. They're stubborn. They're battle hardened.
That's what makes them top.
That's what makes them ape shit. That's what turns them up from 10.5 to 11, right? Avernian Retinue and Fate of the Gorgon. And then they've got a War Gear list that's also pretty spicy. They can also take a Land Raider Proteus to dedicate transport. So what do we think about the War Gear? Should we run through the War Gear options quickly?
I think it's worth it.
I mean, the big things that scream out to me are they can buy a Legion standard for 20 points, which is pretty cool. And it's not like they need to be taken as a retinue for that. They can just buy a Legion standard, which is pretty cool. Where do they sit in the HQ slots today?
They do.
Yeah.
And they haven't got the support choice like the previous unit we saw as well, so that's pretty awesome. And I think that Augury Scan as a Nuncio box I think is an interesting choice. I think it's probably to kind of like show their technological penchant.
They have gadgets,
but I think the most interesting one is that they can each take a graviton gun, which is really cool.
They can indeed. I'm kind of surprised in a weird way that there's no option for dual lightning claws.
Yeah, it's a shame because that would have been good.
But never mind. I'll just have a single lightning claw and a graviton gun.
And
a flag. So, Avernian retinue is the same thing as what we just discussed with the Blood Angels, in that you can run them as a retinue squad to stop them taking up their own HQ slot, one of your valued HQ slots. And then I've got another really cool rule, another little bit of seasoning on top of their rules list. Lee, what does it do? Tell us the fate of the Gorgon.
If you're playing Istvan,
Yeah.
and they're running with Ferrus, then gains Chosen Warriors. If it's post Istvan, they're not running with Ferrus. They get Preferred Enemy Emperor's Children for the obvious reasons that they fucking killed.
They also gain Chosen Warriors, which is apeshit in itself. I think, truth be told, when we talk about apeshit in this, we've just glossed over the most apeshittedness part of this entire unit, which is the fact they've got Battle Hardened 1, right?
Yeah, I was going to say we need to come back to that because
Rob, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to wind you up and let you go.
So first thing to consider. Can we just go back to the entry? So the first thing to consider with Iron Hands is that they are -1. They when they receive shots to the face, the strength of that is -1. So that means that they
playing Iron Warriors.
Iron Hands. So they can't be doubled out.
Iron Warriors is only against dreadnoughts, automata, vehicles.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
sorry,
mate. They've thought about that.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
They can't be doubled out by anything that's strength 8. You need strength 9 to double them out in shooting, right? Whereas these guys also have the Battle Hardened 1 special rule. So I think we were calculating it today, which is that you would need strength 11 to be able to instant death these guys. But just because of the way the rules stack. Now you need strength 10 to be able to instant kill them in close combat. But even then, like strength 10 close combat is usually
you only need strength 8 to double them out in close combat, because Battle Hardened is only against shooting.
No,
is it not?
No, it's in close combat as well. Yeah.
Oh, fuck! It is. Apologies. Yeah. It's the Iron Hands Legion rule that's against shooting.
Yeah. So they lose that, but the it's just fantastic. Like these guys are really survivable in terms of in close combat, but even more so in terms of shooting as well. So, absolutely amazing, incredible. Absolutely.
Am I right in saying with the Battle Hardened, it doesn't affect what you actually roll to wound them on? It only affects.
I think for the purposes of instant death,
correct. It's the purpose of instant death.
One less, right?
Yeah. The fucking.
They're ape shit. They are brilliant, and they're brilliant. I'm glad that they didn't get done dirty. They got full Mentarist as opposed to Phoenix Terminated.
I would like to see more Specialist Terminators limited to 5 guys. I think that to demonstrate how elite that they are and how few of them there are in the Legion, I think that having things limited at 5 is quite good.
I'd like to see more flags.
Yeah, that you can just buy on a unit, right? That would be really. Yeah,
it's a nice thing with like putting together my Sons of Horus army. I've got like Just Aaron with a flag, and I've got Chieftains with a flag. Flags are cool, man. Flags are no joke.
Yeah.
Right, so that was what a manic Tuesday afternoon.
Got one more thing that might affect your predictions. It was something that they put in at the end.
Yes, we are going to come to that. So we did talk about this as the last one, but there was a line snuck into the end of this article, which was kind of overlooked in the furore of the 2 units and the Morlocks finally being there, right?
Yeah.
So, in terms, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this verbatim. In terms of theme, we're moving away from the Legiones Astartes for the second wave brackets of exemplary battles, and looking instead at their mortal and demonic allies. We'll be presenting history, scenarios, and rules for a range of allied units, from demons of the Ruinstorm to cultists of the Primordial Annihilator, making use of existing miniatures and encouraging the ever inventive Horus Heresy community. Now, I think initially this was read with cries of joy, which are now maybe tinged with cries of pain. Correct?
Warp tainted pain. Yeah.
So how do you interpret this?
So when I initially read it, I had read it as that demons of the Ruinstorm and cultists could only be taken as allies. and not as a
Okay, yep.
because it says for a range of allied units from blah 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 blah. And I read a famous podcaster from the internet say, no, that's just complete nonsense. This is totally like they're going to be taken as full army lists. Just wait and see. So we have yet to see. But before this, there was a line. I'm glad you said it, John, that said because it says that for the second wave, and you might interpret that as a second wave of kind of like 20 after the massive wave of plastics that we've had, but it was specifically talking about the exemplary battles. So
See, I saw another opinion from one of our patrons actually, who pointed out that does this mean that there isn't going to be a full-blown militia/demons PDF? Are the units going to be drip fed in exemplary battles?
Yeah, that it could also be what it means. So we shall see.
Yeah, it would be nice to get some clarity and maybe a slight update on the roadmap that we were shown last year, because I would say it's somewhat deviated from the route that was initially laid out.
Agreed.
So maybe for those people that have got demons and militia armies hanging on with bated breath, it'd be nice if they had a bit of clarity. So I'm sure in and amongst our thousands of views, someone from Forge World is out there listening. Maybe just drop us a line. We'll break the news. Don't worry about
it. We are happy to work as the spokesman for GW.
We will, yeah.
All the bad news.
Perhaps Forge World can give us £10 a month for our Rogue Trader tier on Patreon.
Would we want them? I mean, that's the thing. Would we want them as sponsors?
Oh, yeah, we would.
Yeah, we would. You might not, Rob, but for other reasons. You often overlooked Robert Medwell. So
he's not bitter. He's bitter. He's still bitter.
He's not bitter. He's just bitter. Exactly. Yeah.
Bitter. I'm
cool.
Bitter.
So I think is that the admin phase finished?
I believe it is. We have.
Oh no, we haven't. We have got a couple of list reviews actually.
Just one.
Jumping the gun. Oh, is it? Is it just one?
Yeah. I mean, we've got more in the
locker, but we've only got one today. That is true. We have got a little bit of a backlog actually. We asked desperately for people to send them in, and then people send them in. We haven't got time to get to all. Price of success, I guess. So, right. So, Ultramarines, boring, crack on, rubbish.
Okay. So can I just say a bit about this?
Yeah, you can. I don't want to.
I thought I'd put the email up, but obviously I haven't. Oh, did I? No, this is just what the email says about it. So this is from Ollie, he's one of our Patreons, and we did the Tactica on flyers. And Ollie basically came and said, yeah, they're absolute turbo dog shit in this edition. And then he has this list and he wanted us to review it because basically it's just not performing in
the way it needs to.
Yeah. So this is the list. So yeah, sorry. But yeah. So that's where it comes from. It comes from our flyers and yeah.
Do you want me to go through it? I'll read
it please, because I can't even understand the way it's presented, to be honest with you.
So just while perhaps if somebody has the book close by to them, the Legions books, just while I read through it, perhaps they could just tell us what Angel's Wrath does with the assault squads and
I'll tell you what it does, Rob.
Oh, please do.
Exactly what it does.
No,
because I won't, because I can only remember I can remember all of the rules. I just can't remember the way in which they're presented.
Right, okay.
I don't want to confuse matters more.
Right, well, while you're sorting that out, I will go through the list. So he has got a Legion Praetor with the Mantle of Ultramar, Paragon Blade, and Mastercrafted. Excellent choices that you would want your Ultramarine Praetor to have. You've got a Legion Centurion with a jump pack and a Legatine axe, and a Legion Centurion Chaplain jump pack, and he's got a power maul as his kind of like craziest arcanum. An Invictus Suzerain squad. It looks to be a 5-man squad, and the sergeant has a plasma pistol. There are 2 apothecaries with jump packs. You've got a Nemesis Destroyer squad, 10-man. They've got Legion Vexilla Nuncio, Artificer Armor, Power Fist, Melter Bombs, and a Sergeant with Power Phosphex Bombs, and 2 Rad missile launchers. You've got Assault Squad, and it's 50-man Assault Squad, Artificer Armor, Power Fist, Melter Bomb on the Sergeants, and 3 power weapons. And then you've got a similarly decked out squad. Then you've got 1 tac squad, and the Sergeant's got a combi weapon. You've got a Lokutara Storm Squad, which is a 10-man and a Sergeant with Plus Pistol. That's very, very good. You've got Storm Eagles with Las Cannon, Storm Eagle with Las Cannon, and then 1 Storm Eagle with a multiple and Las Cannons, and then a Fire Raptor with the auto cannons and Hellstrike missiles. So my initial impression on these. So I'll just quickly go through these. So I think the Invictus Suzerain squad, drop the plasma pistol, get a Thunderhammer in there. Just to add a bit of punch. You don't need the plasma pistol, but you definitely want a Thunderhammer. The Nemesis Destroyer squad is excellent. Like, I've used them before, and being able to get the morale checks on the Harrow Bolters are fantastic. So definitely a unit I would keep in there. Assault squads are what they are, and the Lokutara Storm squad as well. So 10-man of those are excellent, but again, I would drop the plasma pistol and I would get a Thunderhammer on that Sergeant, because I think that they can take one, so really beneficial. I would also suggest maybe dropping some Melter Bombs here or there, or even the Rad missile launchers, and putting multi-melters on the Storm Eagles, because the melter is just so useful as well. Or maybe even dropping the Centurion for some extra multi-melters on the Storm Eagles. So that's my hot take, but I need to hear what Angel's Wrath does.
So I will tell you what Angel's Wrath does. Any unit in a detachment using this right of war eligible to take a Legion Rhino transport as a dedicated transport may instead take a Storm Eagle as a dedicated transport.
Okay.
So same as last edition.
Yeah.
This is the bit that I wanted to just clarify. Any model with a vehicle unit type and both the flyer and transport subtypes from a detachment is using this right of war that is in reserve, the controlling player may choose to automatically have them enter play at the start of their first turn without making a reserves roll. If they're not brought into play on turn 1, then reserves rolls are made normally from turn 2 onwards.
Is that just things in a flyer, is it? Or is that also things
flyer and transport?
Okay.
So the other thing as well to bear in mind. So, okay, my takeaways here. This might lead on to something we're going to talk about later. The Storm Eagle's got 22 transport capacity.
Yeah.
Right. I think if you're not filling them, they're wasted.
Yeah.
Because we know the problems with flyers. However, the Storm Eagles are both an assault vehicle. You can guarantee when they're going to come in, and they can deep strike.
Yeah.
You haven't got to bring them on as a zooming flyer. You can just deep strike them with 22 geezers in there.
But what does the rule say specifically again about Angel's Wrath? What does it say?
So you can choose to have them turn up automatically on the first turn.
But it doesn't say from
no.
What kind of reserve that it is.
Doesn't say, just says automatically turn up.
Oh, okay. That changes things, I think, because if you've got 3...
Would you like me to read it again?
No, that's okay.
No, there's not a time.
I think with the 3 Storm Eagles coming in,
yep.
You're absolutely right. If you deep struck those in, but then you had some really hard hitting, say, like, for example, Forman's or Invictus Suzerain in there, then that they will be survivable enough, and you can get some assaults off from there as well for your second wave to either be delayed or to come in on the second turn.
Exactly my thinking, right? Is the fact that you need, like, the problem with this army is that there's no punch.
Yeah.
It's an army. It's basically what you're doing is punching someone with, I don't know, some pastry, something that's incredibly crumbly, right? It looks devastating, but when it hits you, it's just delicious and sweet. Whereas what you want is, like, this should be like a big rock being hurled at the enemy, right? You've got 3 deep striking Storm Eagles. Like, one of them might get intercepted down, right? You're not going to lose all 3. They're deep striking, so they can potentially cause pinning on stuff that's going to be looking to intercept them anyway.
Yeah.
And then you guys can leap out. And there's, like, Suzerain are one of the most terrifying units in the game. They're so good. They're so they're so efficiently costed, but five is just isn't enough. That needs to be 10.
Yeah.
There needs to be, and they need to be in one of those Storm Eagles, just dropping down, leaping out. Like that's to me there needs to be more punch, and also the squads need to be bigger.
Yeah,
like,
so
I think
I quite like the Nemesis Destroyers, but I'd be tempted to drop them for a Fulmentara squad that you then put in a Storm Eagle. But you'd have to take that Storm Eagle in the fast attack. That's the other thing.
Also, you would, because they can't take a Rhino. Because
correct,
they can't
take
so.
But the Invictus Suzerain can, so that would fill up a slot there. But yeah, I agree. I think whatever you put in those 3 Storm Eagles needs to come out guns blazing and power fist ready.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's. I think we're kind of there. I think we're 70% there with this list.
Should we read what he has to say about it and how it?
Yeah, go on then.
So, in true Ultramarine style, theoretical, Praetor and Suzerain in Storm Eagle 1, Tac Squad in Storm Eagle 2, and Nemesis Destroys in Storm Eagle 3.
10 the Tactical Marines, I must add here, Ollie. 10.
These arrive at the start of turn 1 as per the Rite of War. Unload and get attack and destroy squads.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Position. Turn 2, reserve roll permitting. 2 15-man assault squads of apothecaries, 1 joined by the Centurion, the Locutarus and Chaplain, and the Fire Raptor arrive from Deep Strike. The 2 boxes allowing them to re-roll the scatter dice if it goes wonky, charge into combat and wipe the enemy from the table. Practical. Praetor and Suzerain. So as before, these arrive at the start of turn 1. Unload and try to get the in position. At least 1 Storm Eagle is downed by interceptor fire, with a second heavily damaged, if not destroyed. Turn 2, Emperor willing, 2 15-man assault squads with apothecaries, blah, 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 blah. And Fire Raps arrive from Deep Strike with 2 boxes allowing them to reroll scatter. Practical variations, the real reality. Turn 2, Emperor says, screw you. Reserves fail to arrive, leaving 3 squads and potentially 1 air asset to weather the oncoming storm. Turn 3, reserves arrive. Emperor says, screw you once more, and the deployment is disordered. All arriving squads fail to pin any units, are outside of charge range, and the Fire Raptor is destroyed by interceptor fire. Turn 4, good luck with any of your remaining forces.
Cool. I think we're nearly there with this. So I would like to propose a couple of changes. First things first, I don't know about the Loctarus. I think to be honest, I think you want everything coming down in one go.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
I think Loctarus, you can maybe bin off. Destroyers, don't mind. What I would like to see is I would like to see those 2 assault squads and that tactical squad become 2 times 20 despoilers.
Yeah.
And bang those suckers into the. So this is where the wording gets a little bit confusing, right? No, I think it's fine. I was thinking about, because obviously they're not technically eligible to take a Rhino if they're 20 men, but I think that's probably rules as written as opposed to rules as intended.
But you've still got 3. You've still got 3 fast attack. If you drop the Locutaris, you've still got 3 fast attack.
Yeah, but you then can't guarantee the first turn entry.
Why not?
Because that's part of. Oh yeah, that's true. Actually,
it says
you don't have to take him. Yeah, fuck it. Do you know what? That's the way you do it. Jam all those suckers. Just pull the jump packs off. Make them, because you've got 40 guys there, right? With jump packs. So make them 2 times 20 despoilers and 10 suzerain. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you.
The tac squad, you make into a recon squad or 2 5-man recon.
No. Do they?
No, because they're not heavy. I think it's only. Hold on.
I don't know.
No, it's true. Any model with infantry unit subtype and detachment right well do not have jump packs of any kind. Must begin the battle embarked upon a model with the vehicle unit subtype and the fly and transport subtype. Fuck it. Don't worry about it then. I want to see a big unit of suzerain, 2 units of 20 despoilers in those Storm Eagles. Turn 1, bang. Deep striking down.
Bar. So I agree with what you're saying. So you've got 3 flyers coming on turn 1.
Yeah. full of guys.
For 200 points, you could add in a couple of Xiphon interceptors. So you've got 5 flyers coming on turn 1. So you literally, I don't know, drop
No,
the...
they don't. They don't have transport, so they're not guaranteed to tell much. Only the Storm Eagles, I think.
Is it? Well, I mean, even if you stick another Storm Eagle in there, I feel like you need to make it. You know, you need to swamp them turn 1.
Yeah, you can do. I think we're there, Ronnie. I'd like you to. What I'd like you to do is, I'd like you to put 2 times 20 despoilers. Even if you just keep the jump packs on, if you've got the model painted up and everything, just run them as despoilers. Chuck them in. We can bin off the destroyers, right? So we're thinking
destroyers. Can they not go 10 Storm Eagles? Oh, you can only no. You can take 15 destroyers, can't you? Can they go up to 15? Rob, you're a fucking Ultramarines player.
The Nemesis destroyers, they can go up to 20.
Fucking 20.
Yeah,
there you go. 20 destroyers. 20 despoilers, 10 suzerain. Those are your 3 Storm Eagles.
And their bolters are amazing because they can fire their bolters and their assault really as well, good. So they can charge. Charge.
So the tactical squad, right in the bin. We're saying, right, just leave it at home. So keep the Loctarus because they can provide a second wave of punch.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that, mate. I think if you're going to do it, you just got to go balls deep turn 1. I really do. I think.
Well, you are still. The fact of the matter is, like, we're trying to not be like throw half of your stuff in the bin and start.
Yeah, true.
So right, okay, yeah, I think keep the Loctarus in there. They can be a second wave. They can start on the boards. They don't actually have the deep strike. But certainly you want to turn 1 deep strike. You want 3 Storm Eagles and you want full of guys, full of fucking nutters. Right? Correct? Yes, we're happy.
Yep.
Ollie, we've sorted it. Congratulations. Let us know how it goes.
Clear as mud.
And if if it all goes wrong, then it's Lee's fault. Right.
So the final thing I would say about the what Ollie's strategy is that I don't think you need to worry too much about getting squads on for your scatter rolls and things like that because
I don't mind
the deep strike isn't quite as dangerous as it was, and also a disordered deep strike I don't think is as bad as all that really. Like, I just wouldn't worry about it too much. But I think that 1 squad of suzerain, 1 big despoiler squad, and one big nemesis squad coming in first turn will provide way more of a punch than perhaps than you had previously.
Yeah,
but,
cool. Yeah. I think what Rob's saying is 60% of the time it's going to work every time. So I think we've actually got some pictures of this army that Ollie sent in halfway. Yeah. Let's have a little look. Oh, see, look at it.
It looks great, right? It looks amazing.
Yeah. It does. I hope you've magnetised those jump packs, mate. Otherwise, I'm horrified even breaking them off. Love it, mate. Honestly, next time, if we get to go to an event together, we'll have a little game with my shit Sons of Horus because they are bomb. So
he says that and he'll fucking table your turn 1.
Right. Is that it for part 1?
I believe so.
Cool.
Yes.
Right. Well, we're going to take a very short break, enable us to refill our flasks and empty our bladders, and then we should be back to talk about why allies might just be the most fun thing in all of Heresy. Okay, right. Welcome back to Heresy Hammer. That was an incredibly long advert, wasn't it? So, letting you behind the curtain a little bit, you might have noticed that in the meantime, since you've watched the Cryptic Cabin advert, we've all gone and changed. I'm a literal...
People's beards have got longer as well.
Yeah, I'm a literal year older. And the reason is because we decided to re-record this main segment when we sort of went back and did our due diligence before we published the episode. We noticed that Lee and especially Rob had got an incredible amount of stuff wrong, and had made some illegalities in their list writing. So I took it upon myself to kind of persuade the guys that we really should just resubmit a few bits and re-record the episode.
I remember it somewhat differently, which
That
was
that is exactly what happened. That is
fucking
Well,
hell.
I have the recording, so maybe when we hit 69 patrons, we'll re-release it as Patreon special. So, what we doing? We're talking about allied detachments and why they're so brilliant. Rob, why are allied detachments so brilliant? Redeem yourself.
So in the original recording that we said, so allied detachments are great because the first reason is that they offer your main detachment, your primary detachment, perhaps something that it doesn't already have. So a good example for me is that my Sons of Horus, are lacking a little bit of shooting punch, and having a Death Guard allied detachment unlocks that for me. And I think the second reason for me as well is that it just provides another modeling opportunity. One of my things this year is to try and get a allied detachment for every legion, 1,000 points for every legion. This is, partly, because of this episode and what we're trying to kind of achieve from it as well. So hobby, but also practicalities on the tabletop as well.
Cool. Lee, why else might you want to take an allied detachment?
I mean, that's kind of it, really, isn't it? He's kind of covered.
You don't want to maybe add like a cool narrative slant to a force or to an event. No, you just want to paint. You want to paint some few models a bit different colors, still quite slowly, and make your army a bit better, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could do it from a fluff perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can't think other than kind of.
We lost the Shattered Legions as well, right? So
Yeah,
exactly. We
before
did.
you used to be able to say Shattered Legions, whereas if you want to reenact Isfahan 3, you can do that with 2 legions rather than the 3 that you could do that with previously.
I think that's a very good point, Rob. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like from a narrative perspective, like I've just finished reading Angel Exterminatus, and it gives me the ability to say do a Emperor's Children army with a detachment of Iron Warriors, or likely a large primary detachment of Iron Warriors with maybe some allied Emperor's Children in there just to sort of drag along. So,
yeah.
But I agree with Rob. Like, you can go at it from a make your army more versatile, or to kind of patch up some of their shortcomings perspective, or yeah, like if you're starting maybe to feel a little bit of kind of like hobby fatigue from your kind of current main legion, you maybe want to bolt on something else just to give yourself a little palette cleanser. 1,000 points of allies is a nice little way of doing it.
And the allied matrix has expanded now, hasn't it?
It has hugely, yeah. It's much more all encompassing than it was previously as well. So you've got more opportunities within the allied detachments to add some more flavor to it. So
yeah.
So we're going to be looking at allied detachments today. What we've decided to do is we've decided to divvy up the 18 legions equally amongst ourselves. Rob's choice was slightly more equal than others because he sent a very demanding message saying, "I want these 6." And then myself and Lee just Rochambeaued for the remaining 12. So what we've decided to do is we've all taken 6 legions each. We're doing 1,000 points worth of properly legal allies.
Oh, we've got Custodians and Sisters as well for those non-legion players.
Who? What?
We've got Custodians and Sisters of Silence for those non-legion players as well.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Of course.
I think we've got 1,000 points of robots kicking around somewhere as well. So, as Rob was alluding to, the allies matrix or the kind of allied force orgs expand out a little bit in this edition just to make it a little bit more versatile. So you have to take an HQ and a troop. Easy enough, right? But you can take up to an additional 3 troops, 2 elites, a fast attack, and a heavy support, which I think is kind of quite a lot, or can be kind of quite a lot.
Yeah,
we'll kind of come on to
huge amount, I think. Yeah.
Cool. So we shall start where we mean to go on at the beginning with the first legion, which I believe is Mr. Lee Jaggard.
Me.
Lee, talk us through your 1,000 point-ish allied detachment.
I will talk you through my 1,000 point-ish allied detachment. So the first thing I would say with the Dark Angels is I had no real fucking clue about the Dark Angels, and their rules take up half the
Half the book.
Liber Astartes. So it was a bit of a mission, just having to read about 20 pages of different rules. But this is what I came up with. So 978 points. Right of War is the Serpent's Bane. So for your HQ, I've got a Delegatus with the Tyrannic Greatsword, Nemesis Bolter, and Melter Bombs. And the troop selection is 10 Legion Seeker squads with Kraken Bolters, Chain Bayonets, Vexilla, Augury Scanner, all in a Rhino, and then 2 7-man tactical sports squads with Plasma Repeaters, Vexilla, Augury Scanner, and both in Rhinos. And because it was about 2 years ago that I wrote this list, I've got the Right of War here because there's no way I could remember it. So Legion Seeker squads can be taken as troops choices. At the start of the battle, the controlling player must select 3 enemy Primarch, HQ, Elites, or Lords of War choices as priority targets and declare the chosen units to their opponent. All models in a unit from this detachment that includes at least one model with the Firewing unit subtype. That's one thing I should add. They're all Firewing. At least one model with the Firewing subtype may add +1 to all 2 hit rolls made against these priority targets or any unit that a priority target has joined. If the enemy army does not include at least 3 Primarch, HQ, Elites, or Lords of War choices, then any other units in the enemy army must be designated. Models with both the character and Firewing unit subtypes in attachment use Right of War, gain +1 attack when locked in combat with a priority target unit. And up to 3 units selected as a troop's choice in detachment using this Right of War may be given the Infiltrate special rule. So basically, it's a kind of infiltrating like assassin unit. Basically, the Firewing subtype, they gain all models and unit under the effect of this Hexagrammaton unit subtype gain a bonus of +1 to wound when attacking a unit that contains at least one model with the independent character special rule. So what I've kind of gone for is more of an infantry than kind of vehicle killing, basically like Dark Angel's assassin team.
I like it.
It could be quite fun. Yeah,
but it's not score. None of it is scoring, though, is it?
None of it's scoring. No, there's no.
So it's just about death, mayhem, and
is there anything? What are the limitations in the Right of War, please, Lee?
So limitations: all units selected as troop choice and attachment using this Right of War must have the Firewing unit subtype. Okay. At the end of the battle, the opposing player scores +3 victory points for each priority target unit that has at least one model on the battlefield and is neither pinned or falling back.
Right, so you could fuck it up and your opponent gets 9 VPs.
Yeah, but what? So at the end of the battle, the opposing player scores +3 victory points for each priority target unit that has at least one model on the battlefield and is neither pinned or falling back. It doesn't say that the Dark Angels have to kill those units. It just says none of them have to be remaining.
That is very true. Yes, so, you've got a little workaround there, haven't you?
It's less of a risk, I feel, because if you fuck it and all your Dark Angels die or just like can't shoot that day or whatever, then at least I feel like the 3 units you're picking are 3 units you want dead anyways. So
yeah, I think that's fair enough.
You know what I mean?
Before we continue, Lee, how did you know that you could take this Right of War in an allied detachment? What were the clues that told you that this was possible to take?
Because it doesn't say you can't in the Right of War.
But there's also, we found from the last show, what else do you need to check before
the top
assuming that's okay?
And I'll be honest, I still haven't checked it.
Please don't do this again.
Let's not check because it could well be completely fucking wrong.
Do you want to explain it, John? Do you want to explain where people
I'll explain what Lee and Rob did in the last episode. So what Rob is alluding to is are about 3 places that say so I actually experienced this whilst writing one of my lists a couple of weeks ago, where it says that a primary detachment and a character containing the Legion Astartes X rule can select this Right of War. And then at the bottom, it might say this can only be selected by a primary detachment, or it might say this cannot be fielded as an allied detachment. There are 3 places and 4 ways we've come across where they limit rights of war to primary detachments only. Yeah. So you really want to read all of the words on the page. Don't just jump to the interesting stuff. You've got to read the boring stuff.
We're good. It's all right.
Banging. Right. Okay. We're 1 for 1.
I do want to say on that, because I did it with my Iron Hands list, and I do think it is fucking terrible rules writing.
Yes,
you've just put a rule in different places. Because I literally just went to the Right of War and read the Right of War. I wouldn't think to read the tiny little bit of writing at the top of that page. I'm reading the Right of War, and the limitations should be written in the Right of War, not at the top of the page. To me, I feel like that's an easy oversight.
Yeah. Don't get caught out, because when we play you at future events, guys,
we're going to know,
because we've been burned by this,
and we will come down on you heavy-handed. I mean, we're talking models just stamped on and
just throwing them against the wall. But yeah, that's my list.
Unless you're a Patreon subscriber, in which case you do like.
No. A great list. I think that's really cool.
I like this list.
The theme is great on this. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. This is a good way of doing it. Lowish kind of model count. You get to paint a few tanks as well. Does the Paladin, the Dark Angels, like special dude, does he have Master of the Legion or not?
I couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Well, what are we fucking paying you for? Move on then. Unbelievable. So this is the third Legion. This is Emperor's Children, and this was me. So this is a relatively... I've borrowed a point from Lee's surplus points in the previous list because mine clocks in at 1,001. Mine is led by Lucius, who can take a Right of War but hasn't in this instance. He hasn't got the Blade of the Lair. He's just got 19, which is his sort of standard weapon.
Right.
Tell you for why, I think it kind of fits in more with the Palatine Warriors. I kind of quite like that. So I've got a troop choice of 13 Assault Marines. The Sergeant's got Artificer Armor and a Phoenix Rapier and a Sonic Shrieker, which is cool. Because obviously it then has knock-on effects on all the rest of the guys in the squad as well. So I think points kind of value is pretty high there. In the elite slots, we've got 10 Palatine Warriors. They've got 4 Phoenix power weapons. The rest have got chargeable weapons because chargeable weapons are cool. We've got Lucius has got Sonic Shriekers. I haven't bothered taking them for the rest of the guys. The Prefector has got a Phoenix Rapier because the Rapier is the cool. And then we've got an Apothecary that sits in those guys. And then they go in the Proteus that's in the support option, which has a searchlight. And there you go.
I would definitely use that list in my own for my own allied detachments. I think that's really, really cool.
It's fun, right?
That's led by Lucius. Was Lucius was he in the events of Angel Exterminatus? He was kicking around.
He was knocking about, yeah.
Oh, so you could take this as an allied detachment to the Iron Warriors.
Absolutely, yeah, and just do something a bit different. So just drive a purple bus across the board and then do some
I like
cool
that.
swordplay.
The only thing I would question is whether can Lucius take a Sonic Shrieker because he is a independent character, or does he just come with one?
No, he can take one because it's on his war gear list.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's awesome.
In the profile.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Oh,
so there we go.
He's a great
there we
model
go.
well.
Easy enough, right? I think that's cool. You get
really
some
cool.
Palatine coolness, something a bit different, and there we go. 4th Legion, Lee. I think this was you again, wasn't it?
Here we go. This was me. So this is a list I've changed.
Oh, good, because the first time around it was rubbish.
I changed it. I changed it for 2 reasons. So one is because John absolutely shredded it to pieces, and
listen, listeners and viewers, I will tell you, it was absolute garbage.
I think
it was like
it was ill-conceived, wasn't it? Yeah, it was really ill.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give the Sundering Lascannon Sunder.
It's
a joke, right? And the was a second reason, Lee. Why did you change this list again? Other than the fact that we absolutely cussed you to shit. What was the second?
I wanted to do something a bit different because it was just Gunline, and I'm a bit bored of just seeing fucking Iron Warrior gun lines, because anytime we talk about Iron Warriors on
Grow
it,
up.
it's just a fucking gun line.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So it's still a gun line, but I just added a little fucking something else into it. So
Don't mind that. Don't mind that at all.
I'll bring it up and I'll go through it, and then John can tear it to pieces, and I can spend the night driving to his house, and he'll probably be dead by the morning. So here we go. So here we go. We have the classic Legion Siegebreaker.
This is already better, boy.
Yeah, this is quite cool, actually.
Shrapnel pistol, Thunderhammer, and he is riding one of these fancy new plastic scimitar jet bikes. In the elite slot, we got two choices. We got a Talon of Castra Ferrum dreadnoughts, both rocking last cannons and searchlights. And for your second slot, you've got 3 laser destroyer rapiers. So that's your gun line. Fast attack choice, I have taken 4 Sky Hunters with multi-melters. And then the troops choice is your classic attack squad, artificial armor, shrapnel bolters, Vexilla, and a cheeky melter bomb. I can't remember what this came in at, actually. I can include it. Obviously, there's no right of war. I think it was like 1,060 points off the top of my head, so it was just slightly over.
I really like this. Yeah, really like this straight away. Can I propose one change? However?
No, here we go. Go
on. The fast attack Legion jet bikes. Why not make them into a jet bike command squad?
Master of the Legion.
Then I'd have to take something with Master of the Legion.
Oh, he's a Siegebreaker, of course.
I mean, it would work. You could.
In fact,
I mean, you've got Armor Bane, but you've obviously now got. So basically, you've got.
What's the Siegebreaker doing?
So giving them Sunder, they still get Sunder. They get Armor Bane, then they can re-roll if they fail to penetrate. Yeah. So you're basically
that's nuts, and it's also Strength 9 Armor Bane because they're
twin linked.
Yeah.
So whatever they're shooting, if it's a vehicle,
die,
you're kind of pretty much guaranteed to kill it.
That's a great combination. I hadn't
and also,
that's great.
So yeah, I mean, it's obvious for those who like the Siegebreaker joins the jet bikes. They fly around and fucking hunt tanks, and then everything else kind of sits in the back line and shoots in. The thing I like about it is they're still equipped for close combat. So if you have got a cheeky scout squad that's pissing you off, you can put work in on them.
I really like this. Actually,
multi-melters are twin linked nowadays. So yeah, so those multi-melters are twin linked, Armor Bane, and you can re-roll any of the failed Armor Bane.
I would like to also say, so the rule says at the start of each shooting phase, the controlling player may nominate 1 friendly unit. Yes. So that also means that you could use it on the primary, right, as well. Yeah, perfect for what we're doing today, because you can mix and match it. Awesome.
Yeah, that is. I like this.
This is great. Yeah, really inspired this. I really love it.
Cool.
This is. I can't tell you how much better this was in your first. You are terrible.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. White Scars. Right. We already decided last episode this was the best one, so we'll just rattle through it. We have got
John. I think you fucked this up so badly, didn't you, last time? No, this was one you did right.
This was all right. This was okay.
This was
amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
So you've got like a whirling dervish on his own, a Delegatus. So he has got Sagamazan is his warlord trait. I've given him a Charnable Tabor because it's just fucking so cool. We don't see enough Charnable weapons. They're all really, 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 really good. They are all good, right? And then I've got 20 Evan Keshi in lots of fun.
It's so good. It's so good.
For 995 points.
I thought this was just so inspired because it was just so different from anything you'd expect to see, and I thought it was so ballsy that because the Delegatus can't go with the Ebon Keshu.
Nope. Yep.
So it's just sort of sailing it. But if you can match him with a unit where he's a sworn brother, that he can actually join a. I
quite like the kind of whirlwinding kind of like sort of. Yeah, kind of Mongol swordsmaster, really. I mean, I just wish I had enough points to give him a jet bike. Is like if I had enough points to give him a jet bike or a jump pack, I think this would be like one of my favorite lists of all time.
Yeah.
But I didn't, because I was trying desperately to stick to the 1,000 point limit. Anyway, here we go. 20 Eben Keshi in lots of five. They're in Tartarus, so they can run. They get an extra +1 movement because they're white scars. Their movement 8. So they're getting +1 to their charge as well because they're white scars.
Love it.
This is the best one. I mean, don't want to say we peaked too early because my Alpha Legion one is quite good, and you've got to wait until 20 to get to there. But basically, yeah. Rob, what you reading?
I was just reading the Right of War for the next one that's kind of come up because it's me.
Oh, okay, fine. Anyway, this is Saga Mazan, so even if you do kill all of the Eben Keshi, it doesn't fucking matter, because they're worth no victory points. So crack it on.
Excellente. So this one was me. So I had the Space Wolves, and it is quite low on units, I think, but it uses the Pale Hunters Right of War. And also, just a mention, which is the Space Wolves are, I think, the only Legion that has a Legion kind of specific Right of War that is only meant for the Allied detachments, which is the Black Watch.
Yeah.
But I'm not using the Black Watch today. But I thought that was just cool to mention because they get some pretty cool buffs against.
We have got Sons of Horrors get the Dark Emissary, who is an allied detachment character, but not necessarily a Right of War.
Yeah, Right of War. So that was pretty cool. So I will tell you what the Pale Hunters does. So all models in a Grey Slayer or Grey Stalker pack from a detachment using the Right of War gain hit and run. On a turn from which a detachment using this Right of War enters play as part of a flanking assault, all models in that unit gain the Fleet 2 and Rage 2 special rule. And up to 3 units from a detachment using this Right of War, made up entirely of models with the infantry or cavalry types, gain outflank as well. So from that, I've given Geigerfeldhand the outflank rule, the Grey Slayer pack the outflank rule, and the Deathswarm pack the outflank rule, because the Outriders obviously come with scouts, so they gain it already. And the whole idea about this list is meant to be infantry killing. So we've got Geiger with the Grey Slayer pack, and they're quite cool because they've also got skirmish, so and they can move and shoot and do some funky Space Wolf shit. And then the Deathswarm pack, I absolutely just love their models. So it was a auto include, but they're pretty cool in close combat. And these guys can take. I've added metal bombs into them so they can take on tanks as well. But the two Thunderhammers and the Power Axes, they'll do some kind of real damage to the opponent. And then the Outriders, I have never seen this kind of like makeup of Outriders before. And bear in mind, this list is all about infantry killing. So 6 bikes with twin link flamers and 6 hand flamers with a lightning claw as well, Vexilla and Artificer armor. And all those outflanking in an outflank assault, I think will be pretty deadly. I think that would be pretty cool. It will take on whatever you need it to take on.
I think this is wicked. Yeah, like this. You can have this. This can stay.
Nice.
I love this list because the Deathswarm are fucking awesome models, and you never see Outrider squads. But when in the rare occasions you see Outrider squads, they're usually armed with plasma.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever, even anywhere on the internet, seen someone running bikes with flamers.
Right? Yeah, I thought.
Yes.
I just think weight of attacks. I think even and then with an insulting hand flamer, like strength 3, just makes it even.
Yeah. Spoiler alert: my original Blood Angels list had a unit of Sky Hunters that had heavy flamers and hand flamers.
Yeah.
For the exact same reason, because it's just fucking cool as all hell.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. Absolutely. Flamer meta, mate. That's what 2023 is about.
Someone needs to do this. I want to see Outrider bikes with fucking flamers sticking out of everywhere.
Oh, you're going to see those new faster jet bikes with flamers kicking around.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
But you can only do it if you put the Space Wolves helmets on them.
Never see
the ultimate insult.
Imperial Fist again, Robert. This is you again, correct?
No, this was me.
Oh no!
What?
So. Yeah.
Yes.
What? All right, Lee, hit us with it because I can't remember what this does.
I mean,
60
I'll be
points
honest.
over again. Classic. Yeah.
I nearly changed this as well, just because it is literally the most generic.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, that's why I
Imperial
couldn't
Fist
remember it
list.
because it's so fucking boring.
Fucking hell. I
Go
mean,
on.
I essentially like watered down what you did. So if
Yeah,
it's
I'm not saying that mine wasn't boring.
you only have yourself to blame.
I'm not. I'm fine with that.
So 1060 points, no right of war. HQ is Tartarus Praetor, Paragon Blade, Vigil Storm Shield, Grenade Harness, Deep Strike. He is rolling with 7 Imperial Fist Huskarls, with Power Gauntlets, Power Axe. I think that's meant to say 2 Power Axes. Vigil Storm Shields, and a Grenade Harness.
And they're a command squad, are they, for him, right?
A retinue, yeah.
Retinue,
Yeah, because I think they're a HQ choice, are they?
They are, yeah.
But you can be taken
as a retinue instead.
retinue.
Or no, are they? I thought they were an elite choice that you could take as a retinue.
No, they are a HQ.
Either way, it doesn't matter. It's quite cool. I don't think there's going to be many Praetors kicking around in this, to be honest with you.
No. Troops is Tentac Squad, Artificer Arm of Exilla in a Rhino, and then a heavy support squad of 8 dudes with Iliastus Assault Cannons, Artificer Arm of Exilla, Augury Scanner in a Rhino. So yeah, kind of that's what it says on the tin, really. The Terminators deep strike in and fucking punch things, and everyone else drives around in their tanks and shoots things.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That Huskar unit is just absolute dirt.
It's
devastating, isn't it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do against it? Nothing. You're going to get punched in the mouth and die.
Just die. I feel like with the retinue, you have to stay with the retinue. Does the independent character have to stay?
Yeah, he can't. They're one unit, right? They can't separate.
No. Yeah, that's it, really.
This is quintessential Imperial Fist. It's strong, points efficient, and
ultimately completely forgettable.
Yes, exactly. But I think it adds a real close combat punch to an army having this supplement. Whatever, it adds a little bit of medium range fire and really serious close combat punch.
This is really fucking handy.
So when I wrote this, I had planned to have obviously you have to have attack squad as your kind of troops choice. I planned to try and get a load of Terminators deep striking in, because I just feel like a load of Terminators suddenly in your face is filthy. But I feel at this points level, it's just not enough in your face. Like if you got rid of that Iliastus support squad and put in I don't know, like a 7-man standard Terminator squad deep striking in, it's just a bunch of weapon skill 4 dickheads. Like they're going to be hard to remove, but I feel if you're doing a primary detachment, then you can do that because there's more of it. But I feel
you could do things
always in a primary detachment, you can take Pride of the Legions, make it.
Yeah, well, exactly. So there's scoring. Yeah,
and there's warlord traits that can unlock weapon skills and things like that.
Yeah, so I felt like at this points level, I feel almost more so with the Imperial Fist, you're kind of hemmed in to run them quite generically, if you know what I mean. But still, I think it'd be fun to run. But
there's kind of nothing wrong with that in a weird way, because they are just
good. Just fucking Imperial Fist, isn't it? Just flaming dickheads.
Night Lords. Oh, this was me. This one.
What is going on? What?
Interesting list to come back to. So, I leaned.
Oh, this was This was excellent.
So I leaned heavily into the fear element of things here. So, we've obviously got a chaplain who causes fear, gives things hatred. He's got a power claw, and he's got a Warhawk jump pack. Bosh. And then we've got 20 assault marines, a big boy unit, 20 assault marines. We've got 4 power weapons in there and 4 Volkite Serpentas, because I think they're cool. And then the sergeant's got 2 up save and a pair of lightning claws to make use of talent for murder. So the idea behind this is the fact that you bang the chaplain and the apothecary in with the big unit of assault marines. They deep strike alongside the 5 Contacar Terminators. We'll come to them in a second. And obviously, there's a huge bubble that they'll create because of the size of the unit, and they're going to be pinning loads of stuff around it. And it's going to be nighttime, and they're going to be causing fear. So they're going to be pinning stuff at -2. And obviously, you're going to have spent your first. They're going to be coming down turn 2. You're going to be spending your first turn sniping out some little sergeant boys with some of your recon marines or some of your scouts or your vigilator and your primary detachment, and then these fucking terrifying dickheads appear out of absolutely nowhere. Be like, boo! And then everyone's pinned, and then they're jumping in, and they've got talent for murder, and they've got hatred because of the champion. And then if that isn't enough, you've also got 5 Contacar Terminators. So I've given them Volkites because they're cool, and prey sights so they can see in the dark because it's going to be dark. And then just for shits and giggles, we've got the ultimate bully unit of 2 sabers in the fast attack slot. So the 2 sabers have got prey sight, and they've got centerline Volkite Sakers and whole mounted Volkite Culverins. And because they count as 10 models each and they're a squadron, they count as 20 models for the purposes of talent for murder. So they're just going to fucking cruise around bullying the shit out of those little annoying units.
Yeah. This is great. I will express my disappointment. The chaplain's not got a little Volkite pistol because I felt it was
points, mate. Points.
I mean, he didn't worry about that earlier, but I mean, this is. I really love the Volkite theme on this. I think that just the themed allied detachment, I think is brilliant. Night Lords are just really scary on the deep strike. Along with their pinning, and I just thought it was a cool use of the sabers as well.
Yeah, I think the sabers. I think sabers. They can put out so many shots, those double Volkites, and because of how talent for murder works, there's so few points for like so much potential devastation. I think
it's the classic thing that you've got to deal with it. Eventually, you've got to deal with it. You're kind of like, I don't want to shoot these fucking stupid little tanks, but at some point, I'm going to have to.
Yeah. And because it's nighttime, they're a little more survivable, but they can obviously see in the dark.
Yeah.
I think in terms of this isn't my favorite of the ones that I've written, but I think this is by far and away the most powerful. I reckon.
Yeah, it's good.
I find it interesting that we did one of the tacticas about assault marines, and the kind of outcome was that they're not that great. But this kind of shows that with certain legions, they definitely have their place, don't they?
I've got assault marines in 3 of my 6 lists.
Yeah. So it goes to show, doesn't it? So they still have a
go and subscribe to the Patreon for as little as £3 a month, and go back and watch the Tactica me and Rob did, because it was brilliant. Not only that, but also think about not just assault marines, but also things like jump packs and other stuff like jump pack command squads and things like that. So find all interlinked. So patreon.com/heresy hammer, if you please. Right, I'm done, mate. This is brilliant. Move on. Oh, it's just me again.
This is the one where we didn't hear it last time. So this is completely new information, right? Because you've fucked this up real bad. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Was it this one, or is this am I making that up?
This was no. This was the one where I let myself down, and I let you down, and I let also the listeners down, because this episode has to come out a week later now because I made such a fucking hash of this first time around.
And this was one where it is written in the Rite of War. It's not hidden at the top of the page.
In great big neon letters, right?
So, without further ado, Blood Angels. So we have a Delegatus running the Rite of War Day of Revelation. I have checked. It's not there. Okay, so he's got a Perdition Blade and a jump pack. He's then with a command squad with jump packs. So we've got 4 power weapons, 2 power fists, and a Spear of Perdition on the standard bearer. We then got 10 assault marines with artificer armor and blade of perdition. We then got 5 dawn breakers with 3 power blade cases and a spear of perdition on the champion. Then we've got 5 angels tears who have got heavy chainswords, and then the arch Eralim, has got Axe of Perdition. So the idea is the fact that everything will come down in one go. Mega murder. So the idea would be that the Dawnbreakers and the Assault Marines will. So I want to sort of. I'm trying to. How do I put this? Like they're going to go with 2 lots of 2. So the Dawnbreakers and the Assault Marines are going to go together. The Dawnbreakers are going to give the Assault Marines a little bit more punch. And then the Angels, Tears, the Delegates, and the Command Squad are all going to go in together. So coupled with the Perdition weapons and the rad grenades that the Angels, Tears come with, we're going to be dropping toughnesses right down, and then combined with the Blood Angels, like Rite of War, not Rite of War, what is it? Legion trait. We're going to be doubling shit out all over the shop.
This is the first time I've ever seen Angel's Tears not armed with Iliastus grenade launchers, double Volkite. I mean, heavy chainsaws quite a brave choice, I think.
Yeah, man. But they're going to be strength 6, like strength 6, strength. They're going to be strength 7 on the fucking turn they charge, and strength 6 going on, and they're doubling people out. So
why would they be strength 7 on the turn they charge?
Oh no, strength 6. Apologies, with heavy chainsaws. Yeah. So, but the idea is that they'll go in, and with the command squad's going to do the heavy lifting. They're kind of just there to have rad grenades.
Yeah.
And also they've got a bit of duty, and they're stubborn as well. So
yeah,
they're going to be there. They're doing a job, and then the Dawnbreakers.
They just come in turn 2 automatically, do they?
You choose with you write down. They come in any turn between turn 2, 3, or 4 with the Rite of War.
That's pretty cool, and that's awesome. I love that the HQ isn't with the Dawnbreakers as well. That's
he's just got his own command squad.
Yeah, I think that's really ace. Yeah, really cool. Nice work.
Cool.
Better.
Legal.
Yeah, that's legal. Right.
Correct. Yes.
Talking about legal.
Yeah. How'd you get on, Lee?
Yeah, to be honest, I struggle with Iron Hands. I thought Iron Hands would be one of those legions that I really liked, and
turns out you don't.
But this was one of the legions that I used. The Head of the Gorgon, is it? Rite of War, and then Rob was like, "Have you read that little line at the top of the page?" And I was like, "No, you fucking fool!" And then it was like, "You can't do any of this." So here it is. So slightly over 1070 points. No right.
Oh, naughty.
Yes, we have a Legion Delegatus in Gorgon Terminator armor with a Cyber Familiar Combi Bolter and a Thunder Hammer. He is running as a retinue 5 Morlock Terminators with a Legion Standard, Graviton Guns, 2 Power Fists, 3 Chain Fists, Augury Scanner, and they're rolling in a Land Raider Proteus with all the last cannons. Elite's choice is a Legion Contenter with 2 Conversion Beam Cannons, and then the Troops' choice is 10 Tac Squad with Vexilla. So fairly obvious, really. Stick them all in the party bus and drive them forward.
I fucking hate this. This is absolute shit.
Okay.
I just don't like it, Lee.
Okay.
This reminds me of something that Will would take, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd probably, I don't know.
quite like the Centurion and the Morlocks in Land Raider. You've got me on board up until that point.
Okay.
And then we come to the Contemptor with 2 Conversion Beam Cannons, and I'm just like, And then we've just got 10 TAC Marines in the troop slot. I suppose it could have been worse. You could have done 5 Recon Marines and really fucking triggered the shit out of me. But I kind of don't know what I'd have done differently though in your position. I mean, this is good. Like, it's really good, but it's also like I can see why you've had such a hard time, because this is really boring. Well, that's kind of not boring. I mean, at the same time.
Think it was that bad, but clearly you don't.
What do you think, Rob?
I think that so the thing that stuck out to me was that I feel that conversion beamers are quite technologically esoteric and something that Iron Hands would probably dabble in. So I think they're fine to use. I think a tack squad is always just so useful. And the Morlocks are just quite good. I mean, they're not as good as 10 Imperial Fists Huskars, but I think the thing is about the Iron Warriors is that the Iron Hands is that you're not going to take the Gorgons because they're just shit.
No.
These are so good,
and so you're limited on any special unit and flavor that you can add into it. And actually, lots of the rights of war, it's the rights of wars that often unlock the interesting things. So the outflanking vehicles or the grav shredders and things like that. So you are limited, I think, in an Iron Hands detachment, and I think their strength plays into the primary. The other thing that this does unlock, though, is of course, and something we haven't discussed, is an additional advanced reaction for the Legion. So you now got the Iron Hands Legion advanced reaction as well as your primary advanced reaction as well.
Yeah.
So I think that I think it's solid and does what it needs to do. And it probably would be very, very good on the tabletop. And it's a bit of a theme with yours, Lee, which is you've got some ranged fire and then some real heavy close combat punch as well there.
I think the trouble is with the close combat is you're kind of with the how powerful kind of weapon skill 5 and 4 is, you're kind of forced to take like elite choices.
Yeah,
you are.
Legion specific elite choices, because Legion Terminators just aren't gonna
no, they cut the mustard.
They're just not going to do it, are they? 5 Terminators are just not really going to do a great deal. But there you go.
Awesome, looks good.
Well, it is
me again.
Is this Lee again?
So.
Yeah, I remember this one.
1,015 points.
Getting closer, mate. You're getting closer.
Legion Recon Company, Delegatus, Thunderhammer, and Power Fist. And then Troops Choices is 2 10-man reconnaissance squads of chain axes and of a Vexilla each. And then a Legion Seeker squad with artificial armor, 10 chain axes, 10 melter bombs, a Legion Vexilla, all in a Land Raider. And then the idea with this is you either infiltrate them all, or infiltrate gives you outflank, so you can outflank some of them or all of them, so you can have the Seekers kind of popping up in your opponent's deployment zone. The only thing is the Delegatus doesn't have infiltrate, so he either has to run around on his own like a fucking berserker, or you put him in allied, with a best mate Legion that he can join. But I quite like this. I mean, essentially with World Eaters, if you're taking World Eaters as an allied detachment, you want to throw something down your opponent's throat. And the chances are you're going to have something that's putting out shots like the Iron Warriors. So this is basically like 1,000 points of like distraction.
I do like this one. We talked about this last time around. I do really, really like this list. I think it's a really interesting way of getting someone of using the recon squad just to get right up in people's shit.
And the Seekers as well. I mean, obviously the Seekers are kind of designed to be shooting people, but it gives you access to a Land Raider Proteus as a dedicated transport. And if you have dedicated transport, then they can infiltrate. So yeah, it's something a bit different. I quite like the idea of it. I think it's quite fun. I think that's another thing we didn't really say about with the allied detachments, but it could just be a bit of fun. You could take 2,000 points of dick kicking as something that might be absolutely dog shit, but it's just
balances a bit yin yang, isn't it? Balancing it out.
Yeah. But yeah, something different. Quite like.
I do like this one.
Ultramarines. This was you,
Right.
Rob, isn't it?
This will be boring.
So yeah, I'd actually agree with John on this one. I actually found this quite difficult to create a list that didn't just default to Fulmentaris and Suzerain.
You have got Fulmentaris.
Correct. Yeah, I needed some punch, but I suspected none of us would take a Kratos in any of this, so I threw one in there. So I've got a Herald with a Legatine Axe for 100 points and a squad of Fulmentaris with Thunderhammer, 2 Powerfists and 2 Chainfists. Now the idea is that Herald goes with the Fulmentaris and allows them to be scoring. Fulmentaris are a bit janky because you don't need line of sight if they stay still to be able to fire, so they can just fire behind a rock on an objective. This is a real kind of like shooting allied detachment. We got a tack squad, Artificer Armor, Powerfist, and a Rhino with a Heavy Bolter and a Vexilla. So it's always useful to have the tack squads. You know, it's been a common theme, except for in John's list. He's gone for the assault squads, but it's been a common thing for me and Lee.
That's
but
right.
The idea is that the Rhino kind of sits alongside, even if the tack squad needs to get out, the Rhino sits alongside the Kratos. The Rhino hits whatever the Kratos is going to be shooting at, unlocks the +1 to hit rolls because of the Ultramarines Legion rule, and then the Kratos can just kind of fire away. So yeah, and I just took it because we just don't. I suspect we probably won't ever see a Kratos in an allied detachment, really. So I thought it was good use.
Yeah, no, I quite like
the Heavy Bolter, and it gives unlocks a powerful shooting turn. Well.
It's a spotter, isn't it? Really for the Kratos. I like the Kratos in this one. Like this is a good list. Like it's a good list.
I don't think as well, because we've talked about the Kratos and how balanced it is. I think the thing about the Kratos is it's quite expensive for what it does, especially when you consider Night Fight. And I think the Fulmentaris kind of balances having this quite expensive 340 point tank in there as well. That it doesn't really have any it doesn't have any twin link las cannons and very expensive, I think, in terms of the las cannons. So cool. That's me.
Yeah. Don't mind that. So I'm assume. I don't think it's going to be my favourite, but it's also not the Imperial Fist list. So
Death Guard
14th. You're up again.
Yeah, so it would be great to get your lads' opinions on this one, actually. Because
this is a great list. I remember from last time. I remember when you've actually run this in the life that we all lead outside of recording. This is a fantastic list.
So this is I think there's lots of iterations of this list, but one thing I would say to traitor players, but even loyalist players, if you want to play some loyalist Death Guard, is that the Reaping, because it unlocks heavy support squads as troops, really allows you to supplement any close combat army that you have. So if you've got World Eaters or you've got Sons of Horus or Blood Angels or something like that, having the Reaping as an allied detachment will unlock that long range fire that perhaps you're missing. And bear in mind that this long range fire, because they're Death Guard, they can move and shoot as well. So you've got a bit of flexibility on the tabletop as well. So the Reaping is 975 points. You've got Delegatus, and obviously I'm taking him to unlock the Rite of War. With a Death Shroud retinue of 3 guys. My plan for them is just basically to hop around backfield, because they're obviously in the Death Shroud are in Tartarus. They're just protecting essentially the heavy support squads that might kind of have some deep strikers, John's Night Lords deep strikers coming down. So I need some protection for them. We've got a Contemptor with 2 Gravis Las cannons and a target array. Where we had done this previously, John had talked about that it's probably worth using a box dread for that, and I think he's absolutely right. It basically does the same job, but just for far fewer points. I just love the model, but I really rate the 2 Gravis Las cannon. I think it's excellent, really reliable fire. I think it's not maybe as good as
there's no bad target,
but it's just reliable. It just does the job you need it to. Tack squad with Powerfist and Artificer armor. enough said. And then a heavy support squad of autocannons, which are just, because of the rendering, are just so great this edition. And then heavy support squad, 5-man last cannon squad as well. And I found when I played a game against Imperial Fist, I really found that they the Contemptor and the heavy support squad just did loads of heavy lifting. And I think the other thing I'd say is that we've seen, and all of us have seen, this kind of like maxing out heavy support squads, right? And I think that's absolutely fine. You know, if you want to obliterate a target and you want to do it reliably, taking 10 of heavy support squads is great. But actually, 2 smaller support squads, I think, just offers a little bit of tactical flexibility.
I agree.
And I think that it stops, to some extent, your opponent just being like, that unit must be deleted. Your opponent now has to make a bit of a choice about which target then that they will need to go for.
Yeah, I had this chat on actually on the Eye of Horus episode. I went on to talk about Iron Warriors, and I had made the exact thing about point about siege tyrants.
Yeah,
like 10 siege tyrants is just too many. Like you don't need that many. You can get away with 7 if you want to take 10. Split them up into 2 units of 5. Like I know it kind of, you know, especially in the Nine Warriors army, those heavy support options are rare as rocking or shit. But at the same time, like 10 is just all it is you're providing ablative wounds. And the fact of the matter is no bastard.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, because it's so devastating when it comes to returning fire. So
that's absolutely right. Awesome.
Yeah, really, really like this one. Really,
awesome.
really like this one.
Cool. I think it might be me again. Is it? I think it is. Yeah. 1,000 Suns. So this list, so this, along with the Dark Angels, I think the 1,000 Suns is the one that really makes people's brains hurt in terms of
it's a real head scratcher putting it on.
Because the Cult Arcanas kind of on top of the psychic powers, on top of the actual unit entry, and then the fact that the FAQ allowed you to kind of double up on Cult Arcana. So if you had a character with 1 Cult Arcana, it then gives it to the unit as well. So there are loads of things within this, but the ones that stood out to me is the +3 to movement. So I've got a librarian, of course, because 1,000 Suns. So he's got 4 sacks, a jump pack, and he's going to be taking telepathy. Now, if you watched today our minor leads video, you'll know that telepathy psychic discipline is great, and the fact that the hallucinations is just for pinning units is just so good as well. So the whole kind of theme around this is around pinning. Like my hope is to deep strike and pin things. We've got a squad of.
You'll need to nip over to the Patreon to see that episode. Just an FYI. So we've linked to it in the show, but we'll also discuss that at the end. But yeah, it's not on the main feed; it's on the Patreon. Just.
So a squad of assault marines with dual lightning claws, and they've got the Pavoni Cult Arcana, and then a 10-man rotor cannon squad with all the trimmings, and they've got Athenaean and another 10-man rotor cannon squad, and then an Osiran Dreadnought, because I just wanted something that was Legion specific. It's such a cool model, and I gave him the Aetherfire Mega Cannon just because of esoteric, right? Just because, literally, it's not. I don't think it's the best choice. I actually think the plasma. The heavy plasma gun is just better, but I think the Aetherfire Mega Cannon is quite cool, and you can get the power off, and it'll be +2 to.
It is also called an Aetherfire Mega Cannon.
Yeah, it's just.
I
cool,
can't go
right? Yeah, it's just cool. But the whole theme of this list is pinning. That's where this list ultimately goes. Is try to pin as many things as possible, stop your opponent moving and reacting. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's quite cool. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I think it's quite nice. I know, but like, I kind of like. 1,000 Suns of Legion, I find a hard one anyway to pursue, mainly because I am stupid and I can't get my head around all of the nuances of the list. So
lots of nuances.
Yeah,
I feel like 1,000 Suns are a bit like Mechanicum, that unless you play them, no one really knows what the fuck they do.
Because the Cult Arcana just makes it, it makes it quite complex as well. Cool. Let's have a look at the next one. I think it's me again.
You again.
Yeah.
The trifecta.
So 1,000 points bang on. We've got the Dark Emissary because allied detachment. Now, John made a very good point about this list, which is that I've taken a Justarian squad in the elites for them in a Land Raider, but the Dark Emissary gives all those units stubborn in the allied detachment, but Justarian already come with it. So perhaps it would have been better to take something like maybe a generic Terminator squad, or even better, maybe some 10-man Reaver squad. Might have been quite cool to go with the Dark Emissary, but I was just thinking that a bit of close combat punch in this list, as well as combined with some long range fire from the 2 Scorpius, I think would have been quite a good combo. And also thinking about what I had in my my drawers that I could use as well, and then attack squad in a Rhino. So it's got quite a lot of firepower because you've got the las cannons from the Proteus, the 2 Scorpiuses as well. So I think it's just a little bit of everything, this list.
Cool.
It's nice and small and compact. It's only a few models to paint.
Yeah.
Like, it will look really striking on the tabletop.
I think so. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I think Reavers might be a better choice to leverage the Dark Emissary.
I think you're probably right, yes. But at the same time, I mean, like, you can't go wrong with either. Just there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
This is an interesting one. Really interesting.
This is the one that we had to go to other, because Rob was like, "You've done it wrong," and then I was like, "No, I haven't." And then other people were like, "No, he hasn't."
No, it's contentious. This one, I think, is fair to say.
Yeah.
It's open to debate. So, word bearers, 1,070 points.
Oh, you've moved.
Drop pod assault. So it's a Delegatus with a power axe, warp fire pistol, and dark channeling. 2 Marigal dreadnoughts in both with tainted claws in dreadnought drop pods, and Troops Choice is a Legion tactical squad, artificer armor, dark channeling in a Legion Dreadclaw drop pod. So the reason I took the Dreadclaw is because otherwise the Centurion can't fit in with the tac squad, because drop pods are only transport 10.
Mm-hmm.
So you could potentially change that if your Delegatus could jump in with a boyfriend squad from the primary detachment, then just take a drop pod and you'd
be maybe close to within your points limit now as well.
Yeah, well, you'd probably be bang on, to be honest, wouldn't you?
You 10 points under.
So, I mean, shall I read it from the Right of War? What it says?
Well, do you want to explain what the contentious what I kind of text you at 6 a.m, kind of saying?
So the Marigal don't have access to Dreadnought drop pod as a dedicated transport. And the effects of the Right of War says, when taken as part of a detachment using this Right of War, any units composed of models with the Dreadnought unit type must be given either Legion Dreadclaw drop pods or Legion Dreadnought drop pods as dedicated transports, and may not be selected in units of more than 1 model. So I read that as, even though it doesn't have a dedicated transport, the Right of War opens it up as a dedicated transport. And the way Rob read that is because the Marigal doesn't have a Dreadnought drop pod as dedicated transport, you then couldn't take it. My counter argument to that is there is not a single Dreadnought that can take the Dreadclaw drop pod as a dedicated transport. So why would you add that in, knowing that none of the Dreadnoughts could take a Dreadclaw as dedicated transport? So to me, it reads that opens up those 2 choices as dedicated transport.
I'm convinced. That argument did kind of.
However, it is open. You could argue it. I still feel like you could argue it either way. Yeah. Just because they've written Dreadclaw drop pod, they've done stupid shit like that in the past.
Yeah, so, I'd have zero beef with someone using this against me. Yeah. Apart from the fact 2 fucking Marigals running right on your back lines out of nowhere.
Yeah, we haven't even spoken about the actual list, right? I mean, because this list is entirely about getting 2 Dreadnought Marigal's in your opponent's face, right?
So essentially everything that's dropping down is causing Fear 1. So again, this is the sort of list that I would run alongside something like the Iron Warriors, where you're just dropping down Fear 1, forcing pinning tests. You know, your Iron Warrior bolters causing pinning checks with Fear. And then you've got 2 fucking
Marigal sat in your face, yeah.
Arguably the best dreadnoughts in the entire game, just sat in front of you waiting to fucking kick you off the table. So I quite like this list because I think Wordbearers was one of those legions when the rules first came out, everyone was like, oh, they're shit. And now it's like, well, they might be shit, but some of their legion units are fucking absolutely.
Yeah, Marigals and Gal Vorbak are zero joke.
What does Dark Channeling do, Lee?
Oh, fucking loads. But it gives Fear 1 essentially within 12 inches without, I couldn't remember it off the top of my head.
It doesn't give you a psychic power or anything like that.
No. If you give me 2 fucking seconds, I'll find it somewhere in here. So it gives you the corrupted unit subtype. Models gain Fear 1 special rule. Any hits inflicted on a model with a corrupted unit subtype by a weapon with the force or psychic focus special rules gains instant death. Any unit composed entirely of models with a corrupted unit subtype is immune to the effects of Fear. Special rule automatically passes regroup tests and cannot choose to fail a morale check due to our weapons are useless. Special rule. When a unit composed entirely of models with a corrupted unit subtype fails a morale check, it does not fall back as per the standard rules, but instead suffers D3 automatic wounds with no saves or damage mitigation rolls of any kind. And then you can only join a unit if you have the corrupted. You can only join a corrupted unit if you have corrupted or a demon. So yeah, which doesn't exist. Yeah. So yeah, I quite like this because it's an aggressive Wordbearers list that you don't really ever see. People don't tend to play aggressive Wordbearers. So yeah,
love it. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, awesome. Really cool. Really, really cool. Oh, this is boring.
I mean, we talk about boring legions, but I felt forced into a kind of a box here, and then I was like, oh man, I can use some rights of war to unlock.
Except you can't
combos, but you can't because all of their rights of war require an extra centurion. So I'm stuck with this basically. So 1,000 points. Cataphractii champion with Thunderhammer and Shield, OBS. Fire Drake Terminators, Thunderhammer and Shields, OBS in a Land Raider. Basic Bitch Tac Squad with Artificer Armor and a Rhino. And a Heavy Sport Squad with Dragon Breast Flamers and a Rhino.
We still haven't bothered to correct that spelling mistake, no?
No, didn't. So if you're not familiar with Dragon Breath Flamers, they're basically a free upgrade for Salamanders. They're +1 strength in comparison to normal Legion Flamers, but they snap fire on a D6, so they can be quite lethal on the Hammer of. Look, what am I thinking of? The Overwatch, basically. The Wall of Flame. So yeah, I didn't think it was the most inspired list, but I think that probably is about salamanders and being unable to unlock a particular right, because it would have been great to take Pyroclast as troops, right? That's what I wanted to do, but because you need a champion as a console choice as well as the person who unlocks the right of war, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah, we had this discussion, and we want to say salamanders players, we know we give you a load of shit because your Legion is sort of dull and terrible, but you have actually got some really cool rights of war. Just unfortunately not a lot of stuff that you can run as an allied detachment.
Did you think about taking any of the I can't remember what they're called, the exemplary battle?
So I did consider that, but then I spunked all my points on Fire Drake Terminators. But I think
a solid choice.
Yeah, but I think that you could definitely because they're support troop choices as well. So and they could take a drop pod as a dedicated transport. So I think you could, if you wanted to, and have flame as a theme, drop the fire drakes. Go for a cheaper HQ choice and just have 2 drop pods filled with those combi flamer guys. So flame is the kind of like theme of it, and I think it probably would have been a more interesting list. But I was just thinking about something that was kind of like close combat kind of related. But I definitely think that would have been a more interesting choice there. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Fair enough. Right. Oh, it's me again. Finally, back around to something interesting. So this is my Raven Guard list. It is 1,000 points. We have a Delegatus. No, it's how I stuck. Of Delegatus. The Delegatus has got a pair of Raven's Talons because they're fucking cool, and he's running the Rite of War Angel's Wrath. We've then got a big unit of Despoilers. So we've got 4 power weapons in there, and the sergeant's got a Raven's Talon. And then they're in a Storm Eagle because they have to be. And that's got 4 Hell Strikes on. So the Delegatus goes into the Storm Eagle with the Despoilers and an Apothecary. And then we've got a Xiphon Pattern Interceptor and a Fire Raptor. So we've got 3 planes, one of them full of massive fucking clawed dickheads.
That is amazing. You got 3 planes in 1,000 points. Actually, that is impressive, right?
Away we go. So obviously the benefits of the Raven Guard, you can make them more hawks, so they're going to give them shrouded, so it makes them a little bit more survivable, and they can all deep strike. So you could in fact put them all into a deep strike assault and deep strike them down. So your Despoilers can be right in the backfield. Bosh, down it goes. I think if I remember back to earlier / last week when we discussed Ollie's Ultramarines list, we suggested potentially Despoilers in deep striking Storm Eagles. So here you go, Despoilers in deep striking Storm Eagle.
That's a really cool list, John. And then the other thing that so 2 things I think is worth mentioning. So the Xiphon obviously unlocks the advanced reaction that allows it to come on as soon as an enemy brings on their plane. So me and Lee have talked extensively in the Patreon Tactica video about flyers how useful a Xiphon is, and for 105 points, it's just worth
it's a bargain.
It's just worth a punt. Just take it.
Nobody maxes it. I genuinely think, like, I don't know about you, but I never really fill. Perhaps it's to do with the armies that I play, but I rarely fill out my fast attack choices. I think, especially in somewhere like Raven Guard, or maybe not Alpha Legion per se, but I think in Raven Guard, I think 3. Oh, hold on a second, guys. Where do Dark Fury sit? They sit in fast attack or elite?
Yeah, they sit in the fast. Yeah.
Well, fuck that then. Never mind. Don't worry about it. But if you,
I know, I might be lying to you. There might be elites actually.
No, I think they are fast attack.
I'll have to check.
But if you find yourself with like spare fast attack choices and spare points, like a couple of Xiphons is really genuinely is worth a consideration. We've been shitting on flyers for 6 months now, but I think that might be coming back around.
The Xiphon is different though, because of the
Xiphon is different. That is true.
Yeah. I think it's a cost thing, isn't it? They're so cheap. If they die, they die. It's just in a 3,000 point list, you've lost 200 points. Meh. But if they don't die, then they're going to blow something up. Like 2 whole-mounted 20 las cannons and the rotary missile launcher is no. Oh yeah.
And especially in something like an Iron Warriors list, right? I don't take a single fast attack choice, and it's just like.
Yeah, +1 to fucking shooting tanks. Yeah, it's gonna fucking kill something, isn't it? I think it's worth mentioning this because with the Angel's Wrath, you can bring the Storm Eagle in on turn 1. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, you can choose to just pop up turn 1.
I feel like that is the worst decision because you're just bringing a single flyer on that is going to get absolutely shot off the table.
I would be inclined to agree.
Rather than, like you say, deep striking all of them in.
Yep.
And then your opponent, I know a lot of people have augury scanners, blah, 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 but not everyone's running 1,000 augury scanners. Suddenly you're making your opponent think about what they've got to shoot.
Well, have we got a single augury scanner in any of our lists?
Very few. I think Death Guard.
Yeah, I think I had one.
Yeah.
Mm.
Also,
Yeah,
very cool list. Yeah,
cool.
Brilliant.
Cool. And then the last one. This is a rework. I actually prefer this to my original fuck up.
I'm gonna say to you, you've made another mistake on this one already.
Oh, really?
God damn
Why?
it. And this is a good point because Exodus cannot be
Oh,
as a compulsory troops choice, HQ choice.
yeah, he can't be taken compulsory. You are right. In which case, because I was going to put initially just a vigilator in there.
Then just take we'll just pretend it's a vigilator in there.
Yeah. So, you are right. I was originally going to have a vigilator and actually slightly bigger scout squads. Mm-hmm. So I then got 2 units of scouts. So we've got Vexilla, melter bombs, and Astarte shotguns.
So I've heard a lot about these shotguns. What do shotguns do, John?
They're concussive, basically. They're short range, but they are concussive.
And they're just strength 4. They're strength 4, aren't they? Same as a bolter, right?
Yeah. However, so what you pair them with is the Efrit that sit in the elite slots. Now, these have got Bane Strike shotguns. So these are breaching shotguns. You've also got a Hydra's Whale disruption array. So if you don't know what that does, that essentially causes like fear pinning. And then you've got the Bane Strike shotgun. And then because the shotguns are concussive, and because all of the Efrit have got power daggers, you infiltrate in, you then run up, shotgun them, close range, with your scouts, and then you do the same thing with your Efrit, and then you chuck your Venom Sphere, and then you use your Hydra's Whale disruption array, and then you run in and shank them with your power daggers.
The ultimate Alpha Legion.
Absolutely, and then you get the fuck out of dodge.
That's good.
Because as soon as they come towards you, you just reaction everything away.
I like that. You know what HQ I'd love to see with this list though, is a Mortar with a jump pack. I think that
don't hate it. Don't hate that idea. Yeah, originally I just wanted to have a vigilator just because it kind of fit the theme really.
Yeah.
So yeah, because you're kind of causing you're causing minuses to pinning. He can be really super devastating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good.
So
yeah, that's brilliant. That's great. And the good use of the exemplary battle.
I think they're really shit hot actually.
Yeah,
I think they're really, really, really cool. And because everything's got shroud bombs as well.
Yeah.
And because obviously they're further away, so obviously
you've
only got 12 inches range on the guns, but you count from return fire reactions, or if you don't want to run in and do some shanking with your power daggers, then you can kind of retreat and you can be further away. You can use the advanced reactions to piss off across the board. Yeah, I think this will be a really fun list. Annoying as fuck.
Super,
a really fun list for you.
Yeah, because those scouts are like 8 inches away for shooting and charging. 8 inches for shooting, I think, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. It's great. Love it.
And there we go. That is all of the 18 legions done. So we have got a couple of other bobs to get through. So I wrote a Mechanicum list, which I'll be brutally honest with you, wrote such a long time ago. I can't remember what bloody hell was in it. I've written about 400 lists since I did it. So why don't you surprise me, Lee, with what I wrote? Oh, yeah, I remember. So again, similar to Rob's thing, I wanted to add stuff in that doesn't necessarily normally appear in the Legion lists. So, but I didn't just want to go robots because it can get a bit samey. And again, you can typically ally in Castellax and Thalax into your Legion list relatively easily anyway with Forge Lords and the like. So we've got an Arch Magos Prime who is 270 points. Strap yourselves in. He's a Myrmidon.
That's a lot of points for a HQ, isn't it? And an ally.
It's a lot of points, mate. It's a lot of points. He's a spicy meatball. He's got every weapon. He's got a Paragon Blade and a Corpusant Stave. And he's got a Machinator array, so he's got a servo arm and other weapons. He has an Augury Scanner, Melter Bombs, Rad Grenades, Cyber Familiar, an IRAD Cleanser, and a Graviton Gun. So he can do everything. Got it all. Got it all. He's also a Cyberthurgist, which is really cool. He's got Battlesmith. He's got Firing Protocols 3. It's wicked. It's got super useful. In the troop slot, we've got 4 Myrmidon Secutors. So they've got Firing Protocols 2, and they've each got 2 Graviton guns. They may not be fighty, but at least they're slow. Say they're not fighty, they also have got 3 attacks and the weapons score 4, and they've got Myrmidon axes, so it's not all bad. But they're pretty survivable, and they do lots of grav. So I think that's a real cool way of looking at them. And then we've got the Myrmidon Destructors sat in the elites slot. So in Myrmidax, you can run Myrmidon Destructors as elites as opposed to heavy support. They have got 2 irradiation engines each. And oh no, sorry, they get an irradiation engine each, not 2 each. They get 1 each. And then the Destructor Lord has also got an irradiation engine. And then in the heavy support slot, we have got 2 Krios battle tanks with just the standard lightning cannon. Again, when we did the Patreon Tactica on artillery, we decided that these were the absolute lit, and any excuse to get a couple into your list is should be jumped upon. Should be jumped upon.
For 260 points for 2.
They're going to do a lot of work. A lot of work, boys. They're going to do a lot of work.
That's great. Again, that really makes me want to do a little Mechanica Mallard detachment now. Thanks very much. Yeah. Cheers.
It's quite right. It's 11 models, right? You can knock this out in a weekend.
It's brilliant. I think it's just inspired. I think it's absolutely exactly what Mechanicum should be.
Yeah.
Small, elite, fucking hard as nails.
Yeah, and your Archmagos can literally do everything. He is fighty, he's survivable, he's hitty, he's shooty, and he's Cyberthurgist, so he's doing magic at the same time. You can have so much fun with just him.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely love it.
The thing I like about this is it gives you an opportunity to go nuts on your modelling, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Archmagos Prime is such a modelling opportunity. It really is.
I think this is I'd say it if I'm not saying it myself. I think this is brilliant. Go out and do it now.
Right. Sisters.
Right.
I'm excited for this one because I've forgotten what it is the first time, and I'm in the middle of doing. I'm literally about halfway through doing a sisters commission at the moment.
Oh, excellent.
And I'm quite into it right now.
Sisters curious, excellent. Okay,
but I don't really know what I'm doing with them. That's the problem.
No, yeah. Again, Thousand Suns, Dark Angels, and these guys are definitely some of the most complex in terms of list building. So, just to break it down, I'll try and break it down relatively simply. So you get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to sisters because their troop choices are relatively cheap, but you've got a lot of painting to do if you want to get a 1,000-point allied detachment. So the natural choice is to go for Janisha Kroll at 150 points. She's an absolute dick kicker. I was just looking at some of her rules. I shall tell you
so hot
off the top, or just a few rules here. So she's got weapon skill 6, she's got leadership 10, a 2-up save, 3 wounds. She's got fleet 2, scout. She comes with fearless and fear 1, hatred, psychodemon, corrupted, and traitor. She's eternal warrior. Precision strikes 5-up, precision shots 5-up. She's ex-Oblivio as well, and she's got a bit of a dick-kicking warlord trait. Unfortunately, can't use it for this, but she's
150 points.
And her weapon, the weapon wielded by the Emperor himself, it's +2 strength, AP 1. And it's got Murderous Strike 5-up as well. It's just, and Julius Edge, it's just for 150 points. She's an auto include if you want to take a sister's allied detachment. So she's going to take with her, so she's going to take as a retinue a company of Raptora. So they are basically kind of elite sisters with execution blades. I've given them a power fist as well, or 2 power fists as well. And they are rocking around in a Charon Pattern Inquisitor for 150 points. They do a fuck ton, they have got some really interesting rules. Things like ignoring night vision and things like that. They are absolutely awesome. In the troops choice, I'm taking a Vigilator Cadre. So that's a squad of sisters with execution blades, and I've given them a power fist as well. And they've also got a Karen Pattern Acquisitor. And bear in mind, they're both assault vehicles. So the sisters getting out of those are assaulting out of those, which I think is an amazing sight because of the kind of like the circular kind of like doors that open and the sisters just come out of them. And then I've taken one of the new units, so three subjugated cadre models. So just the bare bones squad as it comes. But these are the Sisters of Silence jet bikes. So fingers crossed we're going to get those really soon. Can't wait to see this. And I've upgraded them with Adrathic Destructors, which have got some cool rules. They're AP3, but I think they're, from what I recall, instant death. So yeah, I can't wait to see those models. I think they're going to be absolutely awesome. But a small points wise, kind of allied detachment, but quite a lot of models if you want to get that off the table, I think, or quite a lot of work rather. Lots of.
I love this. I do like this. I didn't realize. Janisha Kroll is just fucking unreal.
She's nuts. Yeah, she's absolutely unreal. Yeah, like the rules for sisters are quite complex because your HQ depending on your HQ, that unlocks how many different sister types. So she's ex Oblivio, and then that means that she can unlock 3 ex Oblivio or Oblivion Chamber Militant or whatever. It is quite complex. You do need to sit down with the rules, but it's quite a cool. It feels like how somebody like a logistics officer organizing a Sisters of Silence kind of army would have to do it, right? You need a savant to kind of like work it out.
This is wonderful. This is wonderful. What do you reckon, Lee? You haven't got a clue about this. What do you think?
I'll be honest, I don't know fuck all about sisters.
Right, good. Move on.
But I think we said last time that they are in need of some more models now, aren't they?
Yeah. I think the line's quite dated, I think, as well. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they'll get a bit of a refresh and certainly some of the gaps filled in. Like we've had to use on this commission I'm doing, we had to grab a few like 3D printed parts just to kind of fill some gaps in, not because we're trying to do anything specific or not because we're trying to kind of circumvent an existing model range. It's just because stuff doesn't exist, right?
Just the way it's got to be. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Cool. So I believe that just leaves us with the Golden Boys.
Yeah. So 1,015 points. I've got a Shield Captain with Paragon Blade. You can't take the Tribune because it's not a 3,000 point army. Even then, 230 points is quite expensive, but he's a bit of a dick. 3 Custodian Guard Squad, just basic as it comes. They come with melter bombs, so that's really useful. And their spears are just flat AP2 now. And they also got their Nemesis +1 against like elite units and Primax and things like that. I've taken a squad of Aquilon Terminators with Solar White Power Fists and Infernus Pikes at 335 points in a Coronis Grav Carrier, which is 180 points. Custodies don't have an assault vehicle, so I couldn't add it apart from the Orion, which is a Lord of War. But I have taken 2 cheeky Palace Attack Speeders at 120 points. I think they'll get blown off the table, but exactly as Lee said earlier, and John was saying about the Xiphon, they're not a lot of points, so won't be they might be a nuisance that my opponent.
Yeah, they've got a nuisance factor, which it well outseeds their points.
Yeah, absolutely. So
if they can tie up a 400 point unit, getting rid of them, then the fact of the matter is they're worth taking.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the Custodian Shield Captain could go with the Custodian Guard Squad or the Aquilon Terminators. It's completely up to you, depending on the situation that you are facing.
Cool. Well, there we go.
This is my kind of list. This is
why, because it's like 5 models.
Yeah.
Literally. Awesome, yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I like
just see the Mechanicum one. It's even less than this. Wonderful.
Cool.
And that's allied detachment. So what did we learn? What did we learn through allies?
I think it's fairly obvious that some legions kind of lend themselves to being what's the word? What am I thinking of? Kind of making a more fun list than others. Like some legions like the well, like I had with the Iron Hands, like Rob had with the Salamanders, they're kind of limited
Yeah.
what you can do, I feel, through I mean the Salamanders is a definite one with the restrictions on the rights of war and the limited amount of kind of elites choices they've got. You're kind of restricted to what you can really do with them, really.
Yeah, I do agree on that front. It is a bit of a pain.
Yeah, and then you look at something like the Alpha Legion, which is quite, I wouldn't say easy, but easier to make
Interesting.
fluffy and interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Rob?
So I think it goes right back to what we said at the start, which is that allied detachment. I think you can put yourself into kind of two Venn diagrams, right? And the Venn diagrams overlap, which is that you're looking for something to supplement your primary detachment. You're looking for a new hobby challenge, and then there'll be those people who fit in the center of sit in the center of the Venn diagram, and they can expand that allied detachment. I think one of the things when we were creating lists is that if you are putting units in that require some sort of transport, like a Proteus or a Spartan, then I think it naturally will curb some of the inventiveness of the list. And I think that's why, John, your White Scars and your Alpha Legions were so inventive, because you had no need for any transports, basically. And then the moment I put a transport in for the Justaerin, it really limited the number of options, because I couldn't spend a lot of points in. So I think for your allied detachment, it's about taking a risk, taking a punt, and try and just limit the amount of sort of heavy transports that you're taking. See if you can do some inventive things with some deep striking units, for example.
Yeah, or scouting and skirmishing.
Yeah, absolutely. That you
infiltrating.
wouldn't necessarily do in your primary. So but loads of options, and we've only gone through a few iterations, right? Like the iterations you can have are endless. But
yeah,
the final thing I would say is just, you really do need to be 100% certain about when you're writing your allied detachment, because exactly as we said, and exactly as John said, like, it's in three different places whether you can or can't take certain rights as allies, and it's not that useful. And we were burnt, and we've all learned a lot from doing this a second time over. But you need to be sure. So and I'm going to give one example here. I've heard this so many times, people taking Headhunter Leviathan as the main, and then Decapitation Strike from Raven Guard as the allies. And neither of those, like, you can't do that, like, because the Raven Guard and Alpha Legion cannot be taken, their rights of war cannot be taken in the allied detachment. But I've heard that bandied around the internet so many times, just because people aren't reading that top sentence. So just be careful when writing your allied detachments and you're using rights of war.
Oh, what sage advice in retrospect, right? Fucking hell. Of hours we've wasted. Lee, did you have a favourite? Is there one that speaks to you? Is there one you might even consider adding into one of your existing force over the course of the next 5 or 6 years?
I don't know.
Okay, right. Rob,
No,
I'll come back to you in a second then, Lee.
Hey?
So the not an allied attachment, but the most inspired thing I've seen today is a jet bike squad, multi-melter jet bike squad, with the guy who gives Sunder. What's that?
Siegebreaker.
So Siegebreaker plus a jet bike unit of melters. That's inspired. Like that's going to be the new. That's going to be early 2023's meta.
You're calling it now. That's the new hotness, right?
I think that's genius. Yeah.
Not Volkite sabers in the Night Lords.
Well, it's great, but I think melter jet bikes with this guy is going to be.
Love it. Cool. Lee, have you come up now in those intervening seconds with a favourite list?
To be honest, no. There's a few in there that I really like, and there's some that I found quite bland. But my favourite one. I honestly.
Correct. You're right. It's 20 up in Keshig. Okay.
Yeah, no, that really. No. I don't know, to be honest. I don't
Too
know.
many,
Cool,
too many
right.
good choices. Too many.
There are too many. We've done too good a job.
How about you,
Definitely
John?
one
Is there
of
one that wasn't your own that stood out?
No, I think mine are all the best, unfortunately. So, um, like, I genuinely want to be. What did I like? I've always got a real hard on for Sons of Horus at the moment. So the Sons of Horus one is like, I genuinely, and I've got like, I really liked Lee's second revision of his Iron Warriors as well
Yeah,
with
that was
the
good.
jet bikes.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that one, maybe the Iron Warriors. God, that sounds fucking boring. Not what people know about me, doesn't it? Never mind. Sorry. Um, but there we are. Right. So that concludes the main part of the show. We've just got to the important bits wrap up at the end. We've got our roll of honor. So this has got even bigger since last time we recorded. In fact, even bigger since last time we recorded last week, which we now had to fucking bin. So, crikey. These are our most important of our most important patrons. We thank everybody that watches the show, everyone that subscribes, everyone that leaves a comment and likes and shares amongst their friends and gaming groups. It makes a huge difference. But the fact that people are willing to stick their hand in their pocket and give us some money is actually pretty fucking insane. We like to think that we do offer quite a bit of value in the Patreon. So you can subscribe for as little as £3 a month. I know we shield for this at the beginning, but it's been a week since you recorded, so I'm just going to go over things again. So £3 a month gives you all the new tacticas. We put up 2 new tacticas today alone. We're about to draw our first console giveaway at the end of the week, so we'll do a Patreon only video for that. So if you want to get involved in the next round of the kind of the middle tier, our champion tier, which is you can potentially win a console painted by one of us in a legion of your choice. The next 4 monthly period for that starts basically now, so get involved ASAP. And once you've been subscribed for 6 months in a row, you will take home a Heresy Hammer swag bag, and we're starting preparing the swag at the moment. It's all looking really good. So without further ado, these are our Praetors, so who are subscribed at our top tier. So they consist of Thomas Silverstrin, John McCardle, Nikola Perisic, Tom Hayward, Richard Willis, Igor Povolotsky, Dale Menmuir, Randy Overland, Tom Spear, Ollie Muse, Paul Wormsley, Matthew Lloyd, Gorkrow, Shankly, Ben, Mike the Dorset Wolf, Cody Sivertson, Pete Day, Ashley Bowley, Pete King, Alex Robinson, Harry Hayward of New Aurora Painting, Mark Ainsworth, Chris Levitt, Walter Cook the fourth incarnation of the Perpetual Walter Cook, Ben Robinson, Neil Atherton, Patrick Greenstreet, Bradley Slutt, Simon Whitehouse, Josh Catholic Waterbeast, Hammer and Nails 40k, Beautiful Aaron, Kerry Love, Dale Barrett, and Julien. So if you'd like to get involved in the Patreon, that would be absolutely fantastic. You can head over to patreon.com/heresyhammer or search for Heresy Hammer on Patreon. Don't forget to keep submitting your images on Instagram for us to go through on the #HeresyHammer segment by using the #HeresyHammer. Yes, there are thousands out there now. We're very appreciative. We will get to as many as possible. Just because your work hasn't been featured yet doesn't mean it won't get featured at all. So keep tagging away. As always, please give us a little thumbs up. Please subscribe. Please leave a comment, and please share it amongst your friends. None of those things cost any money or take very much time, but they do make a huge effort to us. This is a lot of effort that we put in. And we want something back for it, to be fucking obvious. And if you've got any list submissions you'd like us to go through, any ideas for upcoming episodes, anything you don't like, anything you do like, if you want to bully Lee or praise Rob,
send us your allied lists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do send us some allied detachments. If you've been inspired or to run an allied detachment, why not send us your list to List Hammer? And you can send that to heresyhammer30k@gmail.com. And for the last time today, if you think we do a good job and we're deserving of some of your hard earned, then you can visit us at the Patreon, which is patreon.com/heresyhammer, or search for Heresy Hammer on Patreon. And for as little as £3 a month, you can get double and a bit more the Heresy Hammer. Is that everything?
That's
everything. Are we done?
Yeah.
Right. Version 2, take 2 in the can. Right, say goodbye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.